Welcome, everybody. We'll be getting started here in just a couple of minutes. Glad to see everybody piling in. Looking forward to our conversations. We'll give everything just a couple minutes and get things started. Right, just a couple more minutes again as we get everybody in here and get started. Would love to hear any key takeaways. Anybody have any key takeaways from the process so far? How did things go with the planning and all that? I'd love to hear any takeaways. I saw a couple people posting that they had some really good results and feedback coming in as they were planning. I'm excited to release some new stuff too, but I'd love to get a little feedback on where you guys are at right now and how things are going before we dive in. I've got time for one or two questions. Anybody got any feedback that they'd like to share? All right. Thank you very much for raising your hand, Tina. What's on your mind, Tina?
Hi, good to see you again. I
You as
got
well.
started right away from this, and so I had an older Facebook group that I hadn't been using, and I decided I was going to change the name of it because it still had a lot of good content, and it's part of what I teach now.
Hmm.
And I changed the banner, we changed the name, I started posting in it. People that were in it from some years ago already have started responding, saying, "Oh, you're here. What are we doing?" And we sent out an email today to 9,000 people on my list. So I'm expecting to have, which
Way
just
to
get,
go.
I'm expecting to have people coming in. I did have a question also because I'm reposting I'm doing a lot of content right now on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram with short videos and quote cards and things. And how do you feel about just putting that straight into the group as well?
I wouldn't have any worry about that at all. I mean, keep in mind, people are only going to see you in certain spots.
Right.
Most people are not going to follow you and see it all over. I know that's a common concern people have, and my experience has said I can post it on my personal profile in my group, and different people will see it. And nobody's ever, literally, in my entire experience of building my brand, no one's ever complained. Hang on, I saw that post in the group and
Yeah.
on your
Well,
personal page.
it makes a ton of content already in the community, and I'm going to do live Ask Me Anything. It's going to be my free conduit into my paid stuff because I also have I started my communities because of my programs. I made communities for the people in the program, so now I'm expanding to have a free level of teaching all the things I teach. So, what's your thought about when it's free about giving replays for any of the stuff you do in Zoom, or if you're doing an Ask Me Anything about making the replays available in the free group?
As long as it's a free event up front, I'm all for it because it's just going to get more engagement. The goal, but I'm a big proponent. When you do that, instead of just posting it, the replay,
Mhm.
post a registration link to get the replay because you want to build your email list. So
Yeah.
instead of just posting the replay and letting go, oh, here's the replay for everybody to see, I even do this, by the way, on my YouTube videos. So if you go to my YouTube channel, you can watch most of my replays without ever giving me any information. But
Okay.
I'll regularly create posts promoting a replay with go sign up to get it. And
Oh, that's
I'll
good.
almost always get hundreds of new emails when I do that. And again, they get the link, that's fine. But you want to do everything you can to capture those email addresses so you can build your email list. So
Well, that
great
reminds me.
question. But
Yeah,
yeah,
because I got an idea from the other day. I can't remember what day one or two, but we went ahead and I created a form that's like a little sort of a sales page, a promotion for the free group, and we're sending that out. And so they actually do have to sign up with their email
excellent.
address to get into the group, and then it takes them right to the questions they have to answer to be in the group and get approved and all that. But they have to give name and email address to get into the group in the first place.
Good. Well, sounds like you're well on your way. Thanks for sharing that, Tina. I
Yeah,
really
thank you.
appreciate that.
Cool, thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Matthew, I see your hand up. I'm going to come to you in a few minutes here. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we get things kicked off and going well this morning or this afternoon, not this morning. So the first thing I want to begin with, I told you guys I had a announcement today, and that is after talking to so many of you and hearing that you're building your groups or reinvigorating your groups or whatever, I'm adding a free fourth open AMA session that we're going to do next week, Wednesday, I believe it is. Hang on, let me pull it up here. Yes. Next week, Wednesday at 2:30, same time as this, 2:30 Eastern, we're going to go ahead and do another free bonus AMA session. So if you've got questions, I want to give you guys a few days to go ahead and get started in your group. Obviously, we've got the portal where we can answer your questions and all that, but I'm going to pop on Zoom just like this. The goal won't be to necessarily teach a ton of stuff, although if that comes up, that's great. But I want to be here to answer your questions, just like Tina had. How do I do this? What's the best strategy? How do we work ahead? So, a brand new free session. It's just for people in this group. So, please don't share it in the public group or anything like that. And I'll send you all details in email with the Zoom link. It is actually going to be a different Zoom link as well. We're just trying to make sure that nothing gets shared with people that haven't participated. I really want to protect your investment in this program and make sure you're getting the most value out of that. So that's announcement number one. Announcement number two is, and I apologize, I don't remember off the top of my head who had that idea. Somebody's going to remind me, which I appreciate. And that was the idea about how do we figure out what it is that we're supposed to share and what it is we're supposed to charge for, and can we get some help on that? And so last night I spent a few hours, and it would have probably been a little bit less, but many of you may know ChatGPT decided to give us some fits last night. And bear with me while I try to find the right window. It's not coming. Oh, here we are. There we go. I've got it. And what I'm going to share with you today, I'm going to copy the link right here. It's called Cornelius. And Cornelius is your content mastermind. I should have added in there your master GPT. And what Cornelius is going to do, I'm going to show you here in a minute. It's going to help you figure out what type of content you should be sharing. Remember, I'm a big proponent of you can't give away too much knowledge. That's my absolute belief. But I know some of you were wondering, and so we created Cornelius here. I'm going to share him in just a minute. Cornelius, spell it. There we got. Whoops, help if I spell it right. So that you guys can use Cornelius to do that. You will notice, by the way, that we are starting to, just because I know we've got, again, people from all over the world joining us. We're starting our start buttons in English, in Spanish, and in French. So if you don't speak English as your first language and you'd like to use one of those, you can. My apologies to Heidi that I didn't include Danish in all of these. We did that on one of them, but Heidi, I didn't do it on all of them. But we'll make that better. And Violet, I think it was you that made this recommendation, if I'm not mistaken. I apologize that my memory is terrible. But let's go ahead and just show you how this works. So we're going to click in. You can click on the link. We click start. And what it's going to happen is it's now going to analyze some information and it's going to come back and ask you some questions. Now, one of the questions that always comes up after we do this live session is people like, Jonathan, it asked you different questions than it asked me. Why is that? Well, we program these to be dynamic, not to be static. And so you may get similar questions, you may get slightly different, but it's all designed with the same purpose. And so I'm just going to show you real quick what type of things you can expect here and how having a conversation here, especially with Cornelius, is going to be really important. This is not a one prompt and get all the results tool. It is absolutely one where you're going to want to have a conversation. So again, I'm going to go ahead and use my dictate feature just because it's a lot faster, and we'll see what it says. So here we go. I'm in the AI and AI prompting industry and provide AI coaching, consulting, and mentorship. So there's my number one. Again, if you don't know, if you press Shift Enter at the end of a line, you can do a carriage return. It just makes it a little bit easier for you to pay attention or for me to pay attention. So let's talk about my target audience. My target audience is entrepreneurs, sole business owners, and business leaders looking to leverage AI to save time, to increase profits, and to deliver more value to their audience. By the way, one of the reasons I really love to use the voice feature instead of typing, notice how much faster this is. And of course, I'm the ADD guy, so faster is always good. I love that. Number three, what are your current content marketing efforts? Currently, we put most of our content in our free Facebook group, although we also have a free GHL group, and I also create blogs and videos on a regular basis. There we go. We'll just give it some perspective here. Number four, and remember, this isn't about our 30-day content plan. We're going there in a minute. That's a whole separate GPT. This is helping you figure out what content should you be sharing, what information, how much should you share. That's what this is all about. From an implementation perspective, I want to offer paid courses and paid masterminds for members to become part of. And again, I'm doing this for me. Your stuff is going to be a little bit different. And what challenges are you facing in balancing free content and monetization? I've kind of accepted that I'm going to give away as much knowledge as I can, and I'm simply hoping that creates enough credibility that when I put out an offer for a course or a mastermind, that those interested sign up. And that's kind of been my philosophy. Let's see. So based on that, I've given information. Now Cornelius is going to evaluate that. It's going to go through all the training data we've got, and it's going to give us some information. By the way, I can't tell you for sure, but I think Cornelius has more training data in it than any other GPT that I've ever done. We stacked it full of training data. And unfortunately, now we're seeing the results of what happens when you do that. ChatGPT sometimes is slow. So here we go. We're coming. ChatGPT's been a little bit slow today anyway, for those of you who haven't noticed. By the way, while this is thinking, just a quick disclaimer for everybody when they go, what's up with ChatGPT? If you would watch historically over the last 2 years, every time that ChatGPT releases a new model, about 2 to 3 weeks later, and I see Kathy's nodding, about 2 to 3 weeks later, their servers just slow down and everything gets really slow. It generally lasts for about 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes up to a month, and then it'll get better. So my prediction is by around the first week of March, most of what we're seeing here will be faster because this is ridiculously slow right now and not what we would typically expect. So you guys are seeing it streaming here, real time, real live, so you could see exactly what's happening. I'm going to just change that positioning just a little bit there. Hopefully that looks a little better on monitors. So let's see, what's it telling me? It says, well, I'm on the right track of give away the knowledge and sell the implementation, but we can refine your strategy to create a stronger bridge from your free content to your paid offerings. And I'm pretty sure this is what we were asking about yesterday. And the goal was how, especially when Violet was talking, how do we figure out what do we give away? What do we hold back? How do we bridge that? And so that's really what this is all about and what Cornelius is going to help with. And so it's going to give me a lot of different ideas. It's going to go into my free content strategy and everything else. Because of how slow this is operating, we're not going to just watch the whole thing. What I want to do is we'll let it go while I continue to talk. But I want to encourage you, as I mentioned, when you run Cornelius, don't try to give it one prompt and hope you're going to get the perfect plan. This is a conversation with a consultant. Imagine that you've put 30 minutes aside to sit down with Cornelius and have a discussion about balancing that free content and paid content and your monetization strategies and everything else and put it together based upon that. Give yourself 30 minutes to have that conversation. If ChatGPT ends up being this slow, maybe you want to give yourself 45 minutes because I want you to actually have a conversation. Imagine that you've hired an attorney or an accountant or another professional. In this case, you get access at any time you want, and they're not going to bill you more if you talk to them longer. But you want to take the time to ask them questions and to have a conversation. You don't simply want to ask them one prompt and trust that everything that comes through is going to be exactly what you wanted to do. So again, this is unbelievably slow. And shouldn't be this way on a regular basis. But this is Cornelius, and Cornelius's job again is to help you balance and figure out free content, paid content, and it's going to give you a lot of different suggestions. So hopefully that makes sense, and I hope that that addresses the question that was brought up yesterday. And again, I really appreciate Violet you bringing that up. I think this tool will be super helpful. I want to encourage you to continue to have this conversation over the next weeks and months with this as you're building your group out, or if you're rebuilding your group or whatever it is. Continue this chat and continue to talk to it about the best things that are happening, about the things that maybe didn't work as well, and get advice from it. Because again, the amount of training data we put behind the scenes on this one was truly monumental. And I hope that'll get some great results. Let me know though, because one of the things we will be doing for those of you that have had other custom GPTs, you will know that we continue to update them. So based on your feedback over the next few weeks, we'll continue to refine this so it does a better and better job for you. And by the way, the link won't change. So you guys have access. You'll always have access to this and that won't go away. So again, really slow today. We're going to go ahead and go into our other GPT. Actually, before we do our content plan, I want to address something that came up yesterday. Good question. And that question was Jonathan, we talked a lot about organic growth strategies for our group, how we can grow it organically, but what other things can we do? If we want to put some gas to the fire, what things can we do? And there are some things that can be done, particularly around advertising. So if you say, you look, I want to put the gas on the fire, I want to put the pedal to the metal, as we used to say when I was growing up, you want to figure out how to get as many people into your group as possible. There are paid strategies you can take a look at. In my mind, the best strategy to use if you're on Facebook is Facebook. If you're on LinkedIn is LinkedIn. And if you're not, if you're on School or Kajabi or GHL or any other platform like that, then you want to go back to wherever your audience is at. And that's likely going to be Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn in most cases. I'm not a big fan, and some of you may disagree, and that's okay. Personally, I'm not a big fan of using Google ads to advertise to get people in your group. And the reason is Google ads tend to be quite a bit more expensive. So what I would recommend you do if you're interested in joining the group, first thing, focus on those organic strategies. Remember where I said take a popular post from your group and share it to your personal page, share it in another group. Those things will yield a lot of value to you. But if you want to do ads, the best ads I think are is to call out the audience you're looking for, and again give them something free for joining your group, some lead magnet of some sort, something of value, something that they're going to be able to get when they join their group right away. You want to entice them to take action right now while they're thinking about it, not later. And if you can give them some type of an offer that there is a belief that it may not be around forever, not that you have to state that explicitly, but you can just say limited time offer. By the way, how many of you guys know on a limited time offer that just means that at some point it's going to go away? Doesn't mean it's going away today. Doesn't mean it's going away tomorrow. It might, but it's a limited time offer. Now, I'm big for honesty in advertising. I don't like it when people tell me, you've got to buy today or the price is going to go up. If the price isn't going to go up tomorrow, don't tell me that because now you've lost credibility. But you can use phrases like limited time offer. Sometimes I will use limited seating available when I sell a course. Why? Well, my Google or my Zoom license only goes up to 1,000 people. So if we get 1,200, I've got a problem because I can't get that easily without buying an enterprise license, and that takes a lot of work. So we're limited to 1,000 people in my courses. The good news is we've never hit that yet, but it is technically space is limited because if we get over 1,000, I've got to stop it. And I actually put that in our sales page that we can only sell 1,000 tickets. So you can use phrases like that to create some urgency. But my recommendation again, if you're going to do ads based upon calling that audience out and keep on the platform you're on. Or if you're not on Facebook or LinkedIn, then find the platform where your audience is. The other part that I want to recommend is instead of throwing a ton of money at things right away, I'm a big fan of what's called the dollar a day strategy. And if you want to look this up, you can look it up from Dennis Yu. It's YU. Dennis is a friend of mine and a great mentor. And what Dennis's basic premise is take, for example, some of your best performing posts in your group, post them on your personal page in Facebook or LinkedIn, and then boost them for $1 a day. Well, what do you mean $1 a day? So for 7 days, I'm going to put $1 on that post. Let me give you just an example. I'll share my screen. It might make a little more sense. Let me go ahead and do that here a minute. We're going to go over here. Let me just pop into Facebook here a second. I'll show you what I mean. So we can go over into, let me get out of my business page and go back to my personal page. You could do it either one. It doesn't really matter, but I'm going to go ahead and see if I go to my personal page here. All right, so here's just an example. I shared this one recently, earlier today, 38 minutes ago. It was basically a news article about DeepSeek. I could then add to this something about the fact if you like AI news like this, make sure you join my free AI group. And I can come in here and I can boost this. Notice the boost post button right here. If I click that boost post, it's going to bring me into my Facebook Ads Manager. You can do the similar type thing on LinkedIn. You can do similar on Twitter. And then you can pick all of your options. But what you want to do is you want to put $1 a day on this for 7 days. Then I don't want to just do one post. I want to do this on multiple posts, maybe one a day, maybe three a week, whatever. So maybe I also decide to take this video post that I just did and I want to promote that one as well. For how much? $1 a day for 7 days. My recommendation is that you want to pick anywhere from 3 to 10 items that you're testing. You go, okay, Jonathan, that sounds more like $3 to $10 a day. Yes, it is. Let's just say we go max and we go 10 of them. That's 10 different posts that you're boosting for $1 a day. And you're going to do it for how long? For 1 week, 7 days. At the end of 7 days, you're then going to scroll back and go, okay, which of these, and I'll just look at three of them here, which of these worked better? Was it the strategy that AI first strategy is setting you up to fail? Was it my ADHD and AI video? Or was it my news article about DeepSeek? Which one of those performed best? Once I determine which one of those performed best, and by the way, when you boost that, you want to make sure in your boost part, and it's very similar on LinkedIn, by the way, that you add some sort of a link there. You have options of what you can do. Let me see if I can find it here. I am not a good, uh, let's see, we want to get more messages, more engagement. So I'm not a good Facebook ads guy. I have a company that helps me out with that. And Jason, he may be on the call here today. Jason Schemmel does an amazing job of that for me. But I can come in here and now I can choose somewhere probably, although Jason normally does this for me, I can choose like a link that I'm going to put on and all that. You can choose your audience. Make sure you pick an audience that's relevant to you. And here's where you're going to change it. You're going to do this for 7 days. Oops, not eight, 7 days, and you're going to put in a $7 budget. That's $1 a day. So now when I boost this, it's literally going to go out and it tells me in this case it's going to reach between 117 and 338 accounts that I've targeted. That you may go, that doesn't sound like very much, Jonathan. It's all right. We're going to do this for 7 days. And the key is I need to make sure that I'm doing this for 3 to 7 posts at a time. So I'm going to be spending $3 to $10 a day. Then at the end of that 10 day or 7 days, I'm going to look at the posts that I boosted and I'm going to go, which one did best? Then I'm going to take the best one, if it performed really well, and I'm going to put $10 on it for a week. And now I'm going to go run another set of tests on 3 to 10 posts for $1 a day. And at the end of week two, I'm going to evaluate which of those posts did best. Was it the one that I boosted for $10, or which did one of the new ones do better? I'm going to repeat that for week three and week four, always comparing to figure out which video is best. But for the week, I'm going to run whatever has been best over the testing period. Then at the end of a month, now you can decide to put some money behind that winning post. Now you'll have put out, in this case, let's say we're doing 3 a week to keep it easy. We'll have 12 posts that we've boosted. We'll have spent roughly 100, no, not quite. So seven times $84 plus another 40 for our $10 a week. So we'll spend about $120. But now we'll know which of those posts is appealing most to our audience. And now we can decide how much we want to put on that for the next 30 days or 60 days or whatever we want. And choose your goals. Your goals should be here based upon new signups to your group. And if you go through that, I'm sure that you can figure that out. If you've got questions, I can't promise that Jason will help, but Jason is in this training and he is in our Facebook group as well. So you certainly could ask him some questions. And if he's got time, he may be able to help out as well. But that's how I recommend that we do paid ads. So instead of going to Google and doing paid ads, join my free group. Everybody sees ads like that all the time. Think of something that's going to add value and run the $1 a day strategy. Again, that's my recommendation. Now, I'm going to be total transparency. That's my recommendation, but I don't do that to grow my group. I do mine organically. I have only tried that strategy a couple of weeks and I didn't see enough difference personally. So I've grown mine organically. And my total ad spend to grow that group, apart from maybe ads I've done for paid stuff, but just to grow the group is probably less than $300 in 22 months. So I have not spent a lot of money to grow that group, and you don't have to either. All right. So hopefully that answers your questions. Let's go back and see if we are back on ChatGPT. If it's done, I'll go back and share my screen now. We gave it plenty of time. Whether it's finished or not, we'll find out. So here we are. So it has come up with some things here. It's recommending some positioning and authority building, my free content strategy, what type of stuff to give away. So even here, here's the type of content to give away, like how AI can save business owners 10 hours a week, 3 easy AI automations every entrepreneur should know, lots more. Again, I won't bore you. And then some recommendation on ways I could do paid upsells to that. So hopefully that helps you as you're figuring out and figuring out for your side where you want. And if you need more detail, continue to have a conversation. For example, give me 7 posts that I can put in my Facebook group this week that would be great free AI prompting information that my group would appreciate. So notice I'm just going to continue to ask it questions. Now this will probably be painfully slow again, not quite as bad. It looks like it's a little better. And look, now because I asked it, it's actually going to write some posts for me. I don't want you to copy and paste these, use them, edit them, but now I don't have to think about new stuff every day. I've got my first 7 posts right here, and I can already tell you the first one's not bad. The second one looks like it's got some promise, and I can continue to work through those and create content. Again, in my group, your group would be different, the type of content you want, but have that conversation with Cornelius. So hopefully I haven't beat a dead horse too much, but I want you to have that conversation with Cornelius. I don't want you just to ask him one question. All right. Any questions on that so far before we dump into the 30, 60, 90-day plan? We're going to go there next, but I'll give 5 or 10 minutes here. If we've got questions, raise your hand. I'll bring you on to talk about either Cornelius or the ad strategy before we go too far. Any questions at all on that type of stuff? All right. Tamara, I see you're there. What's on your mind, Tamara?
Going
There we
back to
are.
dollar a day, are
Yes.
you posting those, boosting those from your personal or your group page?
So you cannot boost from a group page. So you have to do it
Okay.
from a business or personal page to do that. I generally do it from my personal, just again, my belief that people connect with people. And so then when it shows up, that's how I do it. But you can do it either your business or your personal page.
Okay. And so you're taking a post that you've already posted,
Yep.
you're boosting it,
Yep.
and then out of those 3 to 10 posts, you're then taking one, like the best one, and you're
Correct.
reboosting it for 10 days for
Seven
$10.
days, 7 days for $10. So I'm going to run
Okay.
basically each week, I'm going to run a test. I'm going to test 3 to 10 posts out. That means you've got to have at least that many out, by the way, in order to do it. So this week may not be the day to do the dollar a day strategy. It might be 2 weeks down the road after you've got a couple posts out. I'm going to
Okay.
pick, let's make it easy. I'll pick 7 of them, one a day. So I'm going to pick 7 posts. Again, you can pick the number. I'm going to put $1 a day on it. So for that first week, I'm going to spend $49. 7 posts, $1 a day, $49. At the end of that week, I'm going to see which of those posts did the best. And I'm going to take whatever one that is, and I'm going to put $10 a week on that. You could put 5, doesn't have to be 10, but I'm going to put more money on that for the next week. So let's say post number 6 won. Post number 6 is now going to get run for another week, but I'm going to up the budget. I'm then going to grab 7 more posts and put $1 a day on each of those for week 2 as well. So I'm going to spend my $49 plus my 70, so I'll be spending $119. And at the end of the week, I'm going to then look at the end of week 2, I'll have my $10 video and or my post and my dollar post, and I'm going to look and see which one performed the best. Now, one thing to be careful about that is you want to divide the performance of your $10 post by 10 because the other one's only being done by $1. So if $1 did half as good, it's actually probably done 3 times as well, if that makes sense when you do the math.
Okay.
And you're then going
Real,
to do that same thing and repeat.
okay. And then I know you kind of skimmed through like, oh, the duration, the budget, the goal, but when you boost, and I'm sorry for everybody out there on this
No,
list.
go ahead.
When you boost, it's boosting out to Facebook. It's not necessarily
Only
boosting out
Facebook.
to your like connections.
No, you boost so you set an audience. You can send it to people that like your page and a lookalike audience if you want. So maybe we'll see. I'll reach out to Jason and see if Jason will do a half hour or so call with me. Maybe we can do a little bit on ads if we've got it, because Jason does
Okay.
my Facebook ads, and so he knows far more about it than I ever will. I just text him and go, Jason, here's my page, run it. And he runs it through the ad manager. He's technically not boosting it because he can get a lower cost, but for sake of discussion, just boost it. It's faster and it's easier and it's
So
easy to
that's
do
okay.
that way.
That would be lovely if that works out. So, okay.
I will
Thank
I
you.
will reach out, and if you're not connected with Jason Schemmel, go ahead and connect with him. I get paid nothing by Jason for doing that, but he's a great guy and he knows his ads. Feel free to reach out and touch base with him. All right,
Okay.
next
Thanks.
next we've got Laura. Laura, what's on your mind?
Building on that, just as you're scrolling down your handouts. So as you're putting these valuable items for them to download, my question would be branding them. Like on some of, I'm just wondering whether we just do the simple line item at the bottom of how you had, I think it was white bear strategies. I saw copyright writing. Uh, anyway, it just
Hmm.
had, anyway, I'm just trying to think how much do we present it? Do we keep it basic and simple, sweet with
Yeah,
that
keep
just a
keep it
line
super
item
and
at the
simple.
bottom?
Yeah,
And then, yeah, just put it as a
you
PDF. Don't worry about adding any other pizzazz to it
yeah
because we
you
just
want to
want
keep it
them.
simple, because if it comes across as a sales piece again, you lose so much credibility. I
Yes.
know this seems anti-sensical or whatever the right word is for people that have been doing advertising and in general. And again, most of us are old enough. We've been told for years, always have a call to action. Always, always, always. I know this seems contradictory to that, but I can tell you from personal experience, and Laura, you've seen it. I've known you long enough, so you've seen it. If you add value, people will absolutely reach out to you. Period. End of story. It will
Yes.
happen. So, and I'm going to share an example if you don't mind with you, Laura. So, Laura is in a beta agency mastermind that I'm doing right now. That mastermind, Laura, as you know, didn't start because it was my idea. It actually started because I had people that I knew that were following me that came to me and said, Jonathan, would you teach us as agency owners how to become and position ourselves as the AI experts in our specific niche? So in Laura's case, that's the AI digital marketing expert for ag dealers. That, as you know, Laura, and I'm just sharing so you can nod and let everyone know that's true. I never asked anybody to do that. And in fact, I've told them I'm going to do it for 90 days and I may stop. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing it or not. That's the type of thing that starts happening over and over and over when you start adding enough value. These opportunities come to you, and then you get to decide what you want to do with them. So don't put a line at the bottom, yes, but don't put a paragraph at the bottom.
Yeah, that's what I was just wondering in about whether to say this is, proprietary, this is copyrighted by and such. That's what I was just starting to question as to how
Yeah.
much I should put in there or just be like, here's a handout. It was AI generated. Um, and
My default footer says copyright 2025, all rights reserved, and then I put my website URL instead, whitebeardstrategies.com. I
okay,
don't know what that does, but it's enough that if you read that and go, who did this and what is it? You're going to be able to get a hold of me very easily at that point in time.
perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Great question. Glad you did that. Jennifer, good to see you. What's on your mind, Jennifer?
Hi, Jonathan. Good to see you. Question for you. I'm already active, putting a lot of education out there on LinkedIn
Absolutely.
and other social media. Are you suggesting we create different content for these groups, or can
No.
you repurpose it?
So I want you to put the most content in the group so that you have the most value there. So as an example, most of what gets shared on my personal page, unless it's truly personal, probably also got posted in the group. So the example I just showed you of the video, I'm standing there in a blue shirt, blue background that I just showed you, that got posted in my group and got posted on my personal page.
Okay.
But I also posted four other things in the group today that I didn't post on my personal page and I didn't put on my business page. So what I'm encouraging you to do is make your group the most valuable place that your audience can be online. Make them go, I can't imagine not being here. Oh my goodness. Jennifer, you share so much about business coaching and about how to do X, Y, and Z as it relates to growing my business, my brick and mortar store, whatever that we're talking about. All of that's the stuff that you need to be taking a look at. And sorry, I've got to try to mute somebody here. Um, just to remember, guys, please stay muted if you're not on screen, please. You want to make sure that that group is that invaluable place for people to be, no matter what. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Am I clarifying
No,
well
it
enough?
does because ChatGPT suggested I don't do a Facebook group, that I do one like in a high level that I already have access to. My concern with that is I've joined a lot of groups in the past. You get excited for a couple days and then you forget about them and you don't go back into them. So how do we keep people chatting and engaged and keep them
And
coming
that's
back?
that's a great question. So I don't know exactly why it said to do that. I'm not saying it's the wrong decision, but obviously you want to be where your audience is at, where those business owners are at, and where they're spending time because you do want to make it easy. Part of the reason that we did, and I would still do the free Facebook group, is it's very low friction for people to join, and they're already hanging out on Facebook. So you've probably seen posts. I mean, you and I, Jen, we haven't talked in probably 6 months, but you've probably seen some of my posts over the last 6 months pop up on Facebook because you're on Facebook, and so you're seeing things that pop up. The downside is my group posts aren't going to show up to you in your feed as a general rule. It's only the stuff I put on my personal or my business page, if you're following or we're friends, that you're going to see pop up in your news feed. So the group stuff isn't, by going off to like GHL or school or whatever, you're not necessarily losing a lot from that perspective. The difference is it's just another platform. So what I recommend is you need to then be on the platform where the people are, reminding them regularly about your group. My personal preference, and this is just me, and it's why I've done it, having a free group on the social platform where your people are that funnels people to your free group that's off of Facebook. And the main reason is control, because you get better control of that. For example, everybody that's joining my free GHL group that we've set up on high level, my AI prompting group, we've got about 2,000 members in it now. Every one of those I get an email address for because they had to put an email in when they registered. Now, I'm not going to spam them. I'm not going to abuse that, but now I have a way to contact them because they all got entered in my CRM when they joined my group. On Facebook, that's not the case. We've got people on this call who I haven't ever connected with personally, that maybe I know and have connected with, but I just don't know them personally. And I don't have any way to reach out to them because I don't have an email address. I don't know anything about, probably don't even know where they're at in the world in many cases. So that's the benefit of a school or a GHL or a Kajabi, is that additional level of control that you get and some granularity that you can drill down. Am I answering your question for you or no?
You are. Did you suggest having a free Facebook group that feeds to?
Yes, it's exactly, yeah. So
So you put the
my
same content on both? Is that a lot
no,
to
I do
manage or?
not quite. So we just launched our free GHL group. We've had the Facebook group now for about 22 months. We launched it because of what we saw happening on Facebook. I'm getting messages from people that I know, like, and trust. Ken Moskowitz, who I shared the screen with yesterday. Ken, for the last 2 weeks, has not been able to post comments in the group. Ken is he's not a moderator, but he's like the trusted expert badge, everything else. He's never been banned. He's never had a post declined by me, but Facebook won't let him comment. Don't know why. It's
Yeah.
frustrating. So what we're doing is, all of now, anytime we're offering free training or free value, all of that's going off of Facebook. I'm posting about it in my Facebook group, but
Okay.
go
Gotcha.
get it in my high level
Okay.
group, if that makes sense.
It does.
And
Thank you. Thank you so
yeah,
much.
that way, if Facebook goes away or Mark Zuckerberg gets a weird bug up his butt, then I don't have to worry about it. So,
Hmm.
all right,
Right.
Matthew, you're next. What's on your mind, Matthew?
Oh, thank you so much, Jonathan, for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Uh, yeah, my question is this, I have a marketing agency. I
Yep.
want to know your thought regarding offering a community building service as a service.
I think it'd be really good. I think the downside is the amount of time that it takes. So, your labor is always going to be one of the things that becomes expensive when you're providing services to other businesses. But, I think you could train other businesses how to build those communities, and I think you could do maybe a done with you type service where basically you're helping them along the way, but you're not solely responsible for that community. I think that could be a really good offering. And I can tell you, as you build groups, it has value to the business. I mean, I get offers probably once or twice a month to buy my group. And while I have no interest in selling it, some of the numbers are pretty impressive. So it does create an asset for the business. And I think that would be a good idea, Matthew.
Thank you so much.
No, great question. I love thinking outside the box. That's not something I'd ever thought of, but I think that could work really well. All right, I've
Hey,
got two
Jonathan,
more. Yes, go
before
ahead.
you move on, I'm trying to find a link to the AI mastermind. I found the trifecta, but I can't find a
Oh,
link for
you're
just
talking
the
the new high level group?
no, that's the entrepreneurs one. The one
Yep.
that I'm in with like Morris and the rest
Oh,
of
the
the gang.
mastermind group?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and post that. So I do have a mastermind. I'll post that link here. I'm not here to promote that, but I will put that in here so that everybody's got that if you
Come
want
join us, please.
it. Thanks, Sherry. I appreciate that. There we go. There's the link to the mastermind. Um, so, all right, I've got two hands up. I've got Vicky and Violet. Let's handle both of those. And then we're going to go to the 30, 60, 90-day plan, and then we'll open it back up for questions. So, Violet, first, let me thank you. I think it was you that had the suggestion yesterday, and thank you for that. I hope that proves to be a really valuable tool to everybody. What's on your mind today?
Well, I was so inspired after we spoke yesterday that I had the idea that it would be really awesome for me in my group to, because I'm bare, like I have 5 members, like I'm just
That's all
starting.
right. Hey,
You
we
said
all
we need to
start with
put some.
zero, you know?
Yes, yes, but I have so many ideas coming, and I thought that because you said it, don't start it bare. So an idea that I had regarding content was to take a business owner who doesn't have a sales system and basically take them from A to Z and record it. Instead of me saying, this is what you would do to build a list,
Yes,
I'm actually showing how I do it. So my question for you is that's probably going to be 4 to 6 1 hour trainings that I
that
do.
makes sense. Yep.
How do I, so like I posted for free on YouTube in the group, and
So
then do I put,
yeah,
yeah,
couple different ways you could do it. That sounds like that's going to be enough value. You may want to turn that one into a paid offer, and you may want to take a simplified version of each and make that the free one. But you may also go, okay, I can't really do that. It is what it is. I kind of got to walk somebody through it. Again, my core belief is you can't give away too much knowledge. Because remember, even if you give away the knowledge and you show people how to walk through it, just like I did in the ChatGPT I was showing, I
yep,
could do that to my free group, and you would find thousands of people that watched it and never actually opened the GPT to do anything with it. So
right,
you're going to have the same thing if you share that. Just by doing it, though, Violet, you're going to create that credibility that people now know, like, and trust you. And so that's going to go over super well. As far as how I would do it, it depends on your objective. You'll always, on video content or any other content, you'll get the best engagement if you post it to the platform that you're on. Now that excludes school and GHL and Kajabi. They're not social platforms. But if I post
Facebook.
my video on YouTube and I then paste that YouTube link on Facebook, Facebook is not going to amplify that post because of the fact it's going to take people off Facebook. But you can beat that by putting the link in the comments instead. So let me just show you because I just did one of these. Let me grab
Did,
the,
Jonathan, quick question. Does it make more
yeah,
sense to run it live in my group or run it live
that,
on YouTube and then share the link in the group?
yeah, that's, I think, a great way to do either way. It doesn't matter which way you want to do it there. Let me see if I can get out of here. It's not happy, so hang on. Facebook not being happy with me. That's a shock. Ah, cancel. All right. So here's an example of what that looks like. So this is a video, but it's not a video here. This is just the screenshot of my image. And if you read what I did, then I go down here and you can see video link in comments. And then when I look at the comments, the first comment here is that video link. By doing it that way at this time, as we're recording this on September, or I'm sorry, September. Wow, I'm really pushing things. February 6th, not September, but February 6th, 2025. As we do that right now, I'm not being penalized by Facebook because they don't see that as taking somebody off the platform. But if I put that link up here, I'm going to get the same image is going to show up, but it's going to then not get engaged with as much because Facebook's going to go, that's going to pull people off our platform. We don't want anybody to see that. they're not gonna remove it, but they're not gonna help you at all either, if that makes sense. They're not gonna ever send any traffic your way. So the other benefit you get is you're adding a comment then when you post, and Facebook sees a comment after you post. They're not smart enough to realize it's you. And so that helps engagement already. And you can see this has only been up, this is on my personal page, so it's been up an hour and I've already got 7 comments. That's pretty good for me on my personal page. That's not bad. But I did this exact same post, and I talked to Jennifer about this. This exact same post is also in the group, in my
Okay.
free group. So,
Okay.
and don't worry about putting it in too many places, because people aren't, they're not hanging out on all the pages you have. No matter what you do, that you're spending more time on than they are. So don't worry about that. Just share it and make it available.
Okay. Awesome. So you would take like all 6 of those as I'm going and just like, because all I'm focused right now is having a free group and getting to 1,000. And I'm not even
Perfect.
worried about getting it like just one
And
step at a time for
I
my
love that
ADHD.
goal. Yeah. Then
Yeah.
put them on the group, make them available on the group. Don't put a gateway in front of them. Don't even try to gather email addresses right now. Get to that 1,000 users that you want to first. And then they'll know, like, and trust you at that point, Violet. And the next time you put a training up in a month or a month and a half, when you've got your 1,000 users, they'll happily give you their email address. No big deal.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great idea. I love the plan, by the way. And tell me in about 6 weeks how you're doing, because I'd
Okay.
love to hear. All right. Next we have, and we're going to go on and we'll come back to Q&A in a minute, but Vicky, you're up. What's on your mind, Vicky? Vicky, you're muted. I can't hear you. I apologize.
No,
There
that's
we
my
go.
fault. Yeah, I locked up my names on a bunch of platforms. My ideal members are mainly on Facebook, LinkedIn. I don't really want to do any more of the other major socials if I don't have to. Difference is I have done nothing with those groups that are just locking up the name. Do I need to build my Facebook and LinkedIn groups to then get them into my mighty network?
Probably yes. Yeah, you're going to have to.
Okay.
Well, but the other alternative there is, we talked about advertising a minute ago. That's an area where advertising may work. If they're on Facebook and LinkedIn, do the dollar a day instead of putting all the effort into building groups there. That's a great effort to do your dollar a day strategy on Facebook and LinkedIn to send people to your Mighty Networks group, because building multiple groups is hard. It takes a long time. So that's where I might say, you know what, do that dollar a day strategy. And by the way, if you ever have any questions, I'm going to post it here in the group. But if you literally just go out and Google, and we'll put this in here, or I should say Perplexity now, but Dennis U dollar a day.
Oh yeah.
Dennis has videos out there and everything else. He will give you full walkthroughs. Dennis is absolutely amazing. It's probably one of the smartest men I've ever met. I mean, just really, really good. And he can, there's tons of free resources. He does the same thing. By the way, Dennis is one of the people who taught me, give the knowledge away and charge for implementation. And that's what Dennis does. So if you want to learn about his dollar a day strategy, there's tons of it. And if you watch it and you go, "Ooh, that looks like a lot of work. I wonder who I could get to do it." Guess what? Dennis has a team that will do that for you, but he'll teach you everything about the dollar a day strategy for free. And he's kind of a great, not kind of, he is a great model there to follow up on. So Dennis Yu it is. So thank you for adding that.
So to clarify though, I don't have to necessarily start building the group, but I should use the group to do the ad.
No, because you can't run a group. You can't run an ad from the group. You have to run an ad from your business page or your personal page. Yeah.
Okay. So I can.
Yeah, I would just hold on to them. Let them sit there. You've got the name. Let them sit. You know, you're stopping somebody from hijacking you on that group, which is not a bad idea.
Yeah, I've done that all over with my .coms.
Perfect.
Okay,
Yeah,
great. Thank you.
Awesome. Great question. All right, we're going to go into the next step. I told everybody that day 3, one of the things we were going to talk about in day 3 was putting together a 60 or 30, 60, 90-day plan. I think what I told you guys is it was going to be 30, but let's over deliver. So let me show you what we're going to do. I'm going to share. You guys know I love coming up with weird names. I love naming my GPTs. So I'm going to introduce you to Ophelia. And if you go, "Jonathan, where do you come up with these names?" I go to ChatGPT and I say, "Give me a name that starts with this letter." And then I find one that I like. And I love Ophelia. I just love the name. So we're going to introduce you to Ophelia. And Ophelia is your online group content strategist. In other words, her job, yes, I refer to her as a person, that's just who I am. Her job is to help you plan your content strategy. And we've got an Ophelia on the call. Oh, I love it. How great is that? Ophelia, this is for you without even intending. There we go. Love it, love it, love it. And so let's take a look at this. So I am going to open up a new, let's see here. Well, let me show it to you first. So because ChatGPT has been slow, I let this one run before the challenge today so that we could go through it. And I'm going to show, I started by pressing start. I'll show you what it looks like in just a minute, or you can go ahead and pull it up. And here's the questions it asked me. Let's start by creating a tailored 30, 60, 90-day content plan for your online group. To craft a strategy, I need a few details. What's the primary niche? What platforms are you using? What's your biggest content challenges? And what's your target audience? You may go, Jonathan, this sounds kind of like the last one. Yes, there is some correlation between Cornelius and Ophelia, different training documents, but they're both talking to you about content strategy. So you may be able to share some stuff between them. By the way, here's a quick little hack. If you're in between, I don't know if you guys know this, if you type the @ symbol, you can bring in Cornelius into Ophelia's chat, or you can bring Ophelia into your Cornelius chat. So if you start with Cornelius and run through your plan of what you should talk about, you can then bring Ophelia in, and everything in that chat will be part of what Ophelia will respond to. So just keep that in mind if you're doing that and you see that duplication, that's part of what you can do. So I answered this typical. And it didn't get perfect, but it got enough. It's kind of funny when you read the way it took my voice. And based on what I said, it said, great insights. Based on this, I'm going to structure a 30-day, 60 plan focused on monetization. That's something I asked it to do, by the way. Engagement and consistency, something I also asked it to do. And AI expertise and authority. So all of those were things I told it that I wanted done. And now it begins by giving me a 30-day plan. So much like Cornelius, Ophelia is not a one-shot prompt tool. That doesn't mean it's not an effective tool, but it requires more than one shot. ChatGPT has a limited memory. It's kind of like me. It only remembers so much at one time. So you can't have it do everything we want in one prompt. We've got to go ahead and do it, have a conversation. So it literally lays this out. And by the way, I want to tell you, I'm going to implement some of these because I hadn't thought of some of these, and there's some really good stuff. For example, it wants me to do weekly AI prompt challenges. You guys may remember in my group last Sunday, I did a promptathon. Got great response. It pulled that because I shared that information. It says it wants me to do weekly prompt challenges, but instead of just doing request a prompt where I respond, it also wants me to encourage members to share results and then feature some of the best user-generated content. Why? When we highlight our users love what we're doing and they come back to us. This is one I'm absolutely doing, and I love this idea. A mini masterclass, live or pre-recorded, a 10 to 15 minute lesson on something. So I'm going to bring this to my team because I did this morning. Tomorrow they're going to hear about this. And one of my goals, and you guys can try to hold me accountable, I would appreciate it, is that starting in March, I want to do daily mini masterclasses that I give away for free. Why? Because it'll add amazing value and that'll help me build the group that much more. Some Facebook groups optimization, some case studies, gave me some monetization signals because I told it one of the things I want to do, I want to monetize my group. How do I convert these free members into customers? Because that's obviously why we're doing this. Well, how do we do it? Yet I offered, for example, how about an AI prompt playbook that's priced between $7 and $27? That'd be a great first step to get people to start working. I've never thought of that. It's a good idea. And then it talked about some engagement tactics. Then it gave me a 60-day plan and a 90-day plan. I won't bore you with it. There were some other great things in here, a couple things that we've even talked about doing. Love what it came up with. And then I continued on. I said, great, I like what you've given me. Now let's plan the first 30 days out and give me a plan for it. And so it literally starts jumping into week 1 and starts giving me my post. I said I wanted to publish 3 to 4 times a day and didn't give me the exact ones yet. That'd be my next prompt. But morning, between 8 and 10, midday, evening. And here's the type of post it wants me to do. And then look what it did, guys. It gave me a table of day 1. here's my posts. There's literally right there, there's my titles. I can now give those to ChatGPT or to Claude or to DeepSeek or whatever I want, and they can help me create these. What does that mean? That means it's much faster for me to be able to do this across the board. Saves me tons and tons of time. And it laid that out for 7 days. Then it did week 2. And it probably puked at week 3. It started in 4. It said that was too much memory. Remember, I said ChatGPT's only got so much memory, so it can only do so much at a time. That is a great way to get started. And then it gave me some final steps. Now, I should continue this conversation. I'm not going to because you guys don't need to watch me do that. But I want to share with you, this is Ophelia. When you come here, again, English, Spanish, or French, just press start. That's all you need to do. And Ophelia will help you plan your 30, 60, and 90-day content strategy. If you don't do anything else before our next AMA next week, when we do next week, Wednesday, we do that bonus session, please take the time to go through and come up with some content strategy and a plan, because I just left it. But if you guys saw that table it put out, for week 1 and week 2, I just got 21 posts for each week that I could create. My whole content schedule is laid out right there. I can use ChatGPT or any other tool to help me design that. And how much faster does that mean I can get stuff done? That means in probably 10 to 15 minutes a day, I can keep my group full of content. Why is this important? Remember, as I was talking to Jennifer earlier, your group should be the place that your audience goes to and goes, oh my gosh, I'm looking at John Thomas. John, I have to be in your group every day because you have the most value. This is the one place I've got to go every day. You want your group to be that way. And that means you need great, abundant, helpful content. Can be posts, they can be videos, they can be fun, whatever you want to do. And AI can absolutely help you create those, especially if you train it on your voice so that it sounds like you when it comes out. By the way, if you're like me and you
Jonathan?
don't like all the emojis, you just say, don't use as many emojis. Yeah, go ahead, Sherry.
Yeah, I was busy answering a question and missed a prompt. Can you go back to that chat so we can get the prompt for Ophelia?
Sure. All I did, by the way, is press start.
Well, okay. So you,
That's literally all I did. I'll go back
okay.
up. See, here was my first prompt, start.
That's Cornelius. So when
Yep.
you added,
So let me go back to Ophelia. Sorry.
Yeah.
I did the same thing in Ophelia. Let me go find it here a minute. Is this it? Yep, there's Ophelia. So the first thing I did, I just pressed start.
Okay. Thanks.
And no, it's a great question. I'm glad you asked, Sherry. It's a good thing to remember. Part of the reason I set these up with start buttons like that so that you guys can do it is I want it to be easy. I don't want you guys to have to remember, oh, what did Jonathan type? He typed something different. It didn't work. No, I literally pressed the start button. You can see I forgot to put in all 3 of these here a minute. So let's go ahead and fix that. Well, I won't do that live. I'll fix that later so that Ophelia has got.
Can you go back to the chat that you have both in? The chat thread that you have both of them in. I want to show folks something that's handy.
So here's Ophelia. Is that the one you want?
Yeah. So if you are running one, like let's say he's in Cornelius, and then he decides he's going to do Ophelia. He uses the @ and he calls up Ophelia. So can you do that, please?
Yeah. So I'm in Cornelius now. If you're watching, Cornelius has already now told me here's the type of content I should be giving away for free and what I should be doing. Now I can bring in Ophelia. And
yeah,
what
I want to call out is that you see at the top, it says Cornelius is where he's at. But if you look in the chat,
right here,
it says Ophelia. So that's how you know who you're talking to and whether it's still there. So I just wanted to call that out so people are aware, because it's not always obvious when you're in the haze of trying to get things done.
Awesome. I appreciate that. And Isabel, thank you for knowing that I need to fix my Spanish. That's what you get when you trust ChatGPT, because I unfortunately did not excel at English, let alone Spanish when I took it. So I will make a note to try to update that. Isabel, thank you for letting me know that. But yeah, that's it easy. And again, in this case, as Sherry was talking, I used Cornelius, which is what I probably recommend you guys start with. That'll help you figure out what you should give away for free, what you should consider selling and monetizing. Now that I've gone through this and I've gotten all my ideas of what I want to do, now I can bring Ophelia in to help me develop a constant strategy on that and just say, develop a content, let's say a 2 week, we'll do 30 day, a 30-day content plan based on this. So literally, that's all I'm going to type. It's going to, because I've got all this information in my chat, it's going to use all of that, but it's going to use Ophelia's training now to develop that content plan. And Ophelia's been trained to develop content plans versus Cornelius, who's been trained to try to help you figure out what should be free and what should be paid for. And again, you can see I'm still in Ophelia. It says right here, message Ophelia. But the neat thing by doing it in this one chat, I didn't have to copy and paste stuff. I didn't have to go back and forth. I can do it all right here. So if you want to know what I would do, start with Cornelius. Huge shout out to Violet for requesting it. Violet's the whole reason we have Cornelius, because I hadn't thought of that. So thank you, Violet. And then once you've got it done, then come in and just in Cornelius, add Ophelia like I've done here. And I can continue to have a conversation as you see Ophelia is going to lay out not just 1 week, but multiple weeks of content for me. Now, I probably am going to want to make some changes here, but it gets me a huge start on the process. Does that make sense to everybody? All right. So, and again, I see Tina's doing just the opposite. That's fine. Calling Cornelius after Ophelia. There's not a right or wrong. It's again, this is not a, pass go before collecting $200 Monopoly. You can do it either way. It's perfectly fine. So, and then it will be saved in your history under that Cornelius chat. Yes. So super simple. All right. So let's go ahead and open it up for Q&A. We've got some extra time today to talk about Q&A, but we've hit actually, we're already an hour in. It's amazing how fast that goes. So next up, we have John Thomas. John, what is on your mind?
Yeah, I had a couple things. So
Sure.
I saw how you can, of course, set out the 30, 60-day plan. How do you manage? Because I found that I can do that in ChatGPT, but what slows me down is getting the pictures and images and stuff like that. Is there a way to automate that, or is that just a thing where you just invest the time?
Great question. So part of it depends on the platform you're using. One of the reasons that I like Midjourney so well, John, is that when I go in, I can go pick a prompt for Midjourney that I want to use. And when I do that, I can literally, if I like the way it turns out, so Midjourney is going to create 4 images at a time for me.
I
Then
just
I can
signed
do
up
what's
today.
called I can do a repeat function. So even better. Let's say I look at those 4 images and I go, you know what? 3 of those are usable. One's not, but that's all right. I can now have it repeat itself 10 times in a row and I'll get 40 images in the next minute. Now I've got 40 images that I can download, and let's say I only use 30 of them. I've got 30 images that are there, and it's so much faster than doing them one at a time.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so my basic methodology is use use Midjourney, and that's my choice. You can do it in Flux. You can do it other tools as well. You can't do it in DALL-E. DALL-E is the image generator that comes with
Yeah, I
ChatGPT,
don't like them.
and it only does one at a time, no matter what you try to do. I've occasionally got it to do two, but very, very rarely, and it's slow. So I like Midjourney. Another really popular one is Leonardo, that can do multiple images as well, which is nice. But then when you find one you like and you use that repeat function, again, I can get 40 images generated in about a minute. And then what I do is I just download all of them into a folder. And then as I'm making social media posts, I literally open up that folder and go, oh, that'd be a good image. And I run with it.
Okay.
Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, I was just trying to figure out a way because, like I said last time, I'm still running my service business. I'm trying to shift over. So time, of course, is my my thing.
Absolutely.
Um, I cracked my arm. I fell and broke my arm a little bit. So it gave me some time and I actually wrote about it. I was going to put it in the group. But I was still working on my newsletter. I started playing with some of the AI website and platform builders tool, and I literally built a GPT that combines all of my tools, my Perplexity, Gemini, Claude, and I
Oh,
built
I love
that
it.
totally Yeah, I built that totally in a Lovable. Love, I don't know if you're familiar with
I'm
Lovable.
familiar with it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I built it was super cool. Took and it only took me like 4 to 5 hours, right? And I'm like, well, this is probably something cool I would put in my group, show how I did that. Now, is that something that would be a free thing that I give away, a paid thing, because it actually freaking works. I was playing with it before we got on the call,
I
and
love it.
I can toggle between all of my different, I hooked up all my APIs, and I can toggle between, for the question, so I was adding functionality. I broke it a little bit, but the question is, what do I do with that? Do I monetize that? Do I give that away as value? Do I make it
I mean,
into a
if you're paying API costs, I wouldn't want to give it away just because it's going to cost you money every time somebody uses it. But could
Well,
you
I built
convert?
it so they could add their own API. No, I did that too. I had time last night. I built it so when they log in and they create their profile,
Yep,
they can add their own API keys to it. But
gotcha,
I'm saying
gotcha.
that's still something that probably I shouldn't give away.
I would probably give away a snippet of it, and I'm going to give you an example again of Harriet the hook maker that I give away. So Harriet just does hooks. You can ask her to do other things, and she used ChatGPT's knowledge to do that. But what she's trained in is in creating hooks, and that's what she does a great job of is creating those hooks and stuff like that. I could have given. I have another one called Viral Wave, by the way, that I use every day to create viral social media posts. I don't give that one away. That's a paid one. You have to take the course in order to get that one. But I give away the hook part of it, which I also use almost every day to create hooks and stuff like that. I just give part of it away because I don't want them to have the full recipe, if that makes sense. I've explained what I've done. So, for example, Viral Wave is really simple. I went out and paid somebody on Upwork to do research. They identified the top 200 most viral posts of 2024, and it was actually the first half of 2024 when I did it. We took all of those posts, put them into a big document, and we had Claude go through and analyze that document. And based upon that, though all of the posts, it analyzed what things they had in common. What were the traits? What were the best practices? What basically could we learn from these 200 viral posts so that we could create more posts like them? And then I put that into a custom GPT. So there's a good example. I'll give that away to free to anybody. Anybody can, I'll tell what I did. It's not a problem. What I'm not going to do is I'm not giving my viral wave GPT that is now trained and has all that done. I'm not giving that away for free, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Because most
So
people that I
maybe give
explained what I
away.
did when I said let's go to Upwork and let's do this and do this and do this, they are not going to actually take those steps, if that makes sense. But it
Gotcha.
still creates credibility for me because they go, man, I never thought of doing that. That was a good idea to go to Upwork and have somebody do all that research and put all that in. So that's just a real practical example of where I draw that line, and you kind of just got to do whatever makes sense for you.
Okay.
Hey, Jonathan,
Yeah, Sherry.
can I have your permission to share
Of
Harriet the
course.
Hook? We have people asking for it,
Oh,
and I think
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. No,
that's a good
any
one.
any of those free GPTs we can absolutely share. I've also got a bunch, if you have them, Sherry, if not, I can get them later. I have prompts that create image prompts for Midjourney and for Flux and that type of stuff. Those are all free. Anybody wants those,
You're
just
gonna wait. I can give them Felix and all those other ones too.
yeah. Yep.
Oh, people,
Yeah,
get ready.
Maxime, Philip, and Felix.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so
I
I
have them
know
all.
that you're really
Okay.
good at that, Jonathan. So when you're just doing your day to day, and I was thinking about that too, because I was making projects to do the things that I need to do. Do you think it's better, some repetitive tools or tasks to make those in projects or make those like as a GPT so you can kind of run through
It,
it?
it
Or is it
really depends on how you want to do it. So let me take the lid off a little bit about how I like GPTs, and we'll try to make this quick. So I want to make sure I can get everybody's calls in today. But if we don't, John Thomas, remind me. I'll come back and we'll do more with you. I create essentially, if you can think of an organizational chart where you've got, the CEO at the top, and then you've got top level management, and you've got middle level management. But when you go to top level, each one of those is a department head essentially, and then you've
right?
got some people underneath them. I do my GPTs in the same way. So at the top, well, it's not called my CEO. I have my Jonathan trained GPT. Below that, I have a marketing department GPT and a sales department GPT and an HR GPT. And then in my marketing, I have it below that. I even have a one that's just on email nurture campaigns and one that just does social media and one that just does paid Facebook ads. So if I'm in my Jonathan chat, just like from Cornelius, we called Ophelia, if I'm in my Jonathan chat, I can call in any one of those others into that and it will use my tone and style, which is what's in my Jonathan custom GPT, while it writes that social media post or while it writes that Facebook ad or anything like that. I'm actually going to do a training on that setup because I've had a lot of people ask me about it and how I do that. Because of that, I don't use projects as often because of the way that I have
You have it
I look at
trained.
each chat GPT as a specialist. I'm a
Almost
big
like the A.
believer that those GPTs should all have specialties that they do. I know Tina had asked earlier, how do these GPTs compare with some of the GPTs we had in Newsletter Ninja? They're totally different training, they're totally different outcomes. They may have some crossover, just like my email marketing GPT and my social media or my nurture GPT have some crossover, but they have different core functions they're trained for, if that makes sense.
Yep, absolutely. Got it.
Great question. I love it. Thank you, John.
Mhm.
All right, next we have Felicia. Felicia, what's on your mind, Felicia?
Hey, thanks for taking my question. I feel like
Of
some of my
course.
questions have been answered by other people's questions now.
That happens. I love it when that happens.
Yeah, I had questions about Midjourney versus Flux. I'm new for both of them, and you answered Midjourney is the way to go. Is that any different for people of color? Sometimes with technology, it works
Hmm.
one way or other.
Yeah, so I can't speak to it as probably as accurately as you can, Felicia, but let me give you a white guy's perspective on it if I can. Um, all the AI models have been trained on essentially the same imagery across the board. And if we look at images historically over history, there's a bunch more old white guys in stuff than there is anybody else.
Right.
That to me, and I'm not saying I'm right, that to me doesn't mean that the AI isn't useful, but it means I need to remember if I want to have a Hispanic woman, I need to specify Hispanic female. If I want to have a black woman of color, I need to specify African American or something along that, female, or I'm not going to get it. Because if I just say entrepreneur, give me an entrepreneur working on a computer, I'm likely to get 80% white guys and 20% not white guys. Just by if I leave it up to, and I'm picking those numbers, that's about my seat of the pants reaction though. But if I said, give me an African American female entrepreneur, now I'm going to get all African American female entrepreneurs. So it's capable of doing it,
Mhm.
but by default, we kind of need to call it out unless you're an old white guy. So unfair, but I don't find there's a big difference between the platforms as long as you accept that when we use AI, again, not saying it's right, just the way it is,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
something we have to do. Yeah.
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 And your hair game is fire because some of your posts, I posted on one of your posts, like that is some great hair. Like people don't always connect all this types of hair, but in all your posts, you do a really good job with diversity, including
Well,
hair. Your hair game is
and
strong.
thank you. And I'll be honest, I've never specified hairstyle. So all I do is I specify ethnicity. And my
Mhm.
most common one I do is multiracial or multi-ethnic.
Mhm.
Because when I do that, and that's a hint, when you do that, you're going to get more diversity in the images that are created. Now, you're still going to get white guys sometimes, but you will get more diversity. So I often use just multi-ethnic or multiracial. So like if I'm going to say, an entrepreneur sitting at a computer or whatever, I'm oftentimes going to do multi-ethnic or multiracial entrepreneur, and that gets me much better diversity overall. But
Thank you.
I have
Can I ask?
created tens of thousands of images, so I really appreciate your comments. Yeah, go ahead, Felicia.
So you were talking to someone about LinkedIn, and I didn't get a chance to put my hand up quick enough to kind of tail after her. But she was saying that her target market is LinkedIn, and so my target market are mid-career professionals who
Yep.
are dealing with parental aging challenges, helping them balance their life,
Oh,
their career,
yeah.
and parental aging. I could have lost all of that in my career in tech, but because I have a background in financial management, wealth management, I understand some things. And my issue is that everybody that I want to meet and talk to who can who I can help and who can pay
Yep,
for me. They're all on LinkedIn, and a lot of them are super happy that I'm doing this course because they've
I
been along
bet.
with me for 10 years. From clients to executives to everybody has been along with me through this parental aging journey. And part of me says, in their private lives, they may not want to be in a group in LinkedIn because there are some things we don't want our boss to see
Sure.
that we talk about in private. They might be in Facebook, but right now, tech sometimes is upset with Facebook.
Yep.
And so I'm trying to, you told her, maybe do both groups. Does that mean that I use the LinkedIn group to push people into the Facebook group?
So
Or
in your
I,
case, I would, if you're working with tech professionals, as if I understood that right, if I'm listening correctly, and sometimes I'm not, so correct me, I would actually pick a platform like School that they're all familiar with. Every tech person out there is familiar with School, and they likely don't have a good or bad opinion about it. They just know it exists, and they're probably at worst ambivalent. Then I would make a huge point about the fact, why are we on a School community versus here? It's for privacy. You don't want your boss seeing what you're talking about. You don't want any risk of that. That's why we're not even on the same platform. Make it a selling point now as to why you're not on LinkedIn.
okay. And
Does that
but
make sense?
in LinkedIn, I should do I should point people towards the group in school.
Right. So, for example, your LinkedIn banner, make sure it references your group some way and has a QR code or some way for people to find that. Make sure in your profile you have a link out to the group so when people connect with you, Felicia, they can see that. Make sure that you're putting regular posts up about the success stories you have. And then just at the bottom, kind of like I mentioned to Laura, just a little simple one. For more details, go to the school group, this free school group.
Got
And
it. Okay.
then literally address it in LinkedIn. Go, people keep asking me, and by the way, I'll ask you so you can say people ask you, why do you do it on School? Okay, now it's done. People have
I
asked you
love it.
that.
I
And
love
now
it.
you can go, people are asking, why do I have a School community? Well, let me explain why. When you do that as like a post on Facebook
Mhm.
and explain it, now you're drawing people in without like promoting the group. You're explaining what's happening and
Okay.
you're going to draw people to you. So does
Okay.
that
And
all make sense?
yeah, if for perfect sense. Thank you. And I have 200 people in a Facebook group already. And so it's
Well,
not
and
a
again,
lot.
if they're joining there, don't fight it. I mean, I don't mean to say fight it if that's what's working. And if you think that works, there's nothing wrong with doing that for a while. My belief is you can grow a group to at least 5,000 people before you have to figure out if you're on the perfect platform. But if you have the opportunity to do it easier, it just saves you time down the road. I can tell you the cost, just the labor cost that I've had to put in for my team to move us so that we have this free high level group in my AI prompts for entrepreneurs has been far greater than I ever imagined it would be. I mean, it's worth it. I'm not mad, but I mean, we've spent certainly over $10,000 just out of my pocket to make this new group happen. And again, I've got 300,000 members. I'm not worried about it, but it would have been nicer had I thought all this up front and done it different. I would have saved myself 10 grand 2 years down the
Okay.
road.
All right. I made a banner for my Facebook group because I wasn't sure and I was up till 12 or whatever thinking about this last night. Um, And I noticed that I didn't put my face on my Facebook group. But when I look at you, I look like on the banner, the cover thing. When
Yeah.
I look at you, when I look at a lot of other coaches, strategists, you all have what your content is. It's really pretty. And you also have your faces every time. Because I also want to speak. Have spoken on tech stages before, and I want to be able to speak about this and people to
So let
put
me
names
share
and
real
faces
quick. I want
together.
to make sure you were looking at the same thing. So I actually don't. What you have there is this is just my profile picture, but
Okay.
my background image does not have that on it. My background image just is blank behind there, knowing how that's going to show up. Does
Okay.
that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It
Yeah, so
does.
I actually don't in this case do that. And I need to update my banner because it's old, but and you can see really simple, but then where you have your links, like notice here for website, my only link that comes up is my Linktree page. And I do that on purpose. I talked to you guys a little bit about that yesterday, the value of having that Linktree page that you can send people to. And then when
Right.
they click on that, then they get to see all of my stuff. And I can change this, by the way, anytime I want. So like right now it's Community Catalyst. This will go away next week. We'll announce our next training and it'll be replaced by whatever that next training is.
Okay.
Does
All
that
right.
make sense?
It does make sense. I need to figure out how it applies to me. I need to figure out, more importantly, how I get someone to help me with the graphics. So you have a mean graphic game too, and I spend a lot of time trying to make graphics.
It's called Canva.
I know I'm in Canva. Yes,
Just
yes.
use a template. Seriously, use a template from Canva. It'll get you 80% of the way there, and that'll be ahead of 90% of your competition. So
Okay. I'm gonna put it in
awesome.
the
Thanks.
group, like 3 things that I made today. I'm trying to pick out my Facebook cover, and maybe
Well,
all of them are
yeah,
bad, but they're all
share them.
Canva.
We'll share them. Ask everybody. We'll give you opinions.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Felicia. No, we appreciate you. All right. Next we have Elena. Elena Powell, what's on your mind?
Hi, Jonathan. It's Alina, actually.
Alina, I'm sorry. I apologize. Thank you for
That's
correcting me.
okay. That's okay. I had two questions, actually. One,
Yes.
I have to figure out how to nurture an email list that has about 200 people that is now run cold. So
Okay.
I guess I wanted to get your opinion on that. And before you answer that, I have taken Self-Scribe, Topical Authority, Newsletter Ninja, Prompt Whisperer, GPT Magnet, and this one. So
Okay. Awesome. Well, first, let me say thank you. I so appreciate you being part of the community and the support. It means the world to me. So thank you.
no problem.
So, warming up a list. You've got a cold list. How do I warm it up?
Yeah.
Don't bombard them with a ton of stuff. What I would do is the first email that I would send out, and I would run this past ChatGPT to make sure I'm not being stupid, but I would go ahead and I think I would say, hey guys, it's me. Uh, I haven't been here for a while. I'm back. I'm planning on doing, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever. And before I start sending these to you and finding out you don't want them, I simply wanted to let you know so that if you would rather we don't do that, please click unsubscribe now.
Mm.
Two reasons to do
Right.
that. One, people will really respect you for doing that. Secondarily, when somebody gets mad, and somebody will down the road who won't have read that message, they won't have unsubscribed, and they'll go, Alina, why are you doing this? You can go, I did send you an email and you didn't opt out. And then they'll go, oh, I'm sorry. So part of it's just to cover your behind, and part of it's
Right.
because it will create good credibility. And then I would be whatever plan you lay out for what your plans are. If you say I'm going to be sending out weekly emails or daily emails for the first month, at minimum, don't miss it by a moment. So if you say every Friday I'm going to send this out, then make sure, like clockwork, before you go to bed Friday night, that you're sending that email so that they can validate that what Alina said was going to happen is exactly what's going to happen.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay.
Does that
Yeah,
make
because
sense?
I want, and that makes sense because I want to move them to the Facebook group when I have it set up.
Yep. Yeah, and
Yeah. Okay.
get the group set up first because nobody likes to
Definitely.
hear. And I know this sounds harsh, but nobody cares what your plans are. They care what you're doing for them
Mhm.
today. So don't tell
Exactly.
them the only exception I'm telling them is like you said, if you've got a cold list and you want to warm it up, then I think it's kind and polite to tell them that this is what's on my mind and this is what I'm planning. But that's the only time I would ever let
Mhm.
people know this is what I'm planning to do. Just
Okay.
do it in every other
Okay.
case.
Okay. So that's the first question. So thank you. So the second
Sure.
question is, I'm more of a like once I have the big picture, then I can focus in on all the little details and the branches and everything like that. So I'm just thinking of everything in terms of the courses I've taken with you. I'm creating the Facebook. I'm going to do the YouTube channel. I'm just trying to think of in terms of, I think someone asked this of you a while back, like in terms of the courses that we've taken, like what's the order? But based on what I've taken from you already, I've already have the self-scribe snippet already. So I'm just trying
Yep,
to
if you've
figure
got
out
that, that's
everything else.
critical.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to figure out in terms of the order to do things.
There's no right order. We've actually thrown
Right.
out 3 separate GPTs we've tried to create to give people advice because I didn't like the advice it gave. It's like, no, that's not really true. So we're still working on one to serve as that. I don't recall from the whole list. Did you say you'd taken Viral Wave or no?
No, that's the only one I didn't take.
Okay, if you want to take another one, that would be the only one I would
Mhm.
recommend next, and it's because it really will teach you how to create viral worthy content. And that's good because viral worthy content
Mhm.
gets more engagement. But
Okay.
there is not necessarily a right order or a wrong order to take them in.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
with the viral wave with the topical, I'm just trying to think in terms of the hooks.
Hmm.
You suggest the viral wave to go with the topical.
Well, yeah, I mean, Topical Authority is, as you know, is really all about how to do the AI assisted content marketing, and I think this, by the way, class fits perfectly on the Topical Authority because when you're building
Mhm.
Topical Authority, a group makes so much sense to have, and I think
Yeah.
that's definitely your right way. You probably, I mean, candidly, you can probably use the GPTs I released today to get you
Yeah.
most of what you need for content. But if you find out, man, I just feel I need an extra edge. I need
Mhm.
another tool. I need to be able to do that a little bit better. Then I would recommend Viral Wave. But is it needed? Not
Okay.
necessarily needed. I can tell you I use it every day, literally to write posts because it just works. The benefit to you guys in that if you took Viral Wave, because I'm using it every day, I absolutely make sure it's getting updated regularly because I'm using it every day. So you guys are
Right.
getting kind of an ongoing free upgrade with that every time because we make changes to it regularly.
Okay. That's good to know. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thanks, Alina. Thank you
Jonathan,
so much. Yeah, Sherry.
can they use the VW Challenge 30 code for the replay? Or would that,
I sent a code out to everybody last night. I don't know if you guys got that. Somebody had suggested it. I'd have to go look in the email. But I sent an email coupon code out last night and see if I can find it that works on every challenge that has been out there. And I
okay.
don't think
I did,
that was it.
I
Hang on real
didn't,
quick. I will find it. So that was a great idea and it went out, but let me find it here real quick. Do.
I didn't get that special email.
You should have, but who knows? This is
Me of
welcome
all
to the
people should have got it.
welcome to the world of email where things don't
Yeah,
always go as we want. All right, so that I'm going to share it here in the, hang on, I got to find it.
thanks.
There we go. I found it. It's a weird code. So it's going in the chat. Please don't share this outside because this is only for, it's a special offer just for you guys. Um, and here is the code, savings code. I'm trying to think what to call it so that it's in there. There's the code, and then you can go to anything you guys want is over here. There we go. So that's the link if you want it. All right. Guys, I apologize. I really don't, I'm not here to sell you guys other courses. I love it when you take them, but that's not my reason to be here. So, all right. Next we have Benson. Benson, what's on your mind, Benson?
Hello. I thank you so much for all the great information. This is I took the Photoshop, not the Photoshop, but the
Image impact.
portrait class. Yeah.
Yep.
And one of the things that I have a friend I'm working with who's got a couple different companies. One is kind of a baking company, and one is a child products company. And I want to be able to build GPTs for those that will eventually become chatbots.
Oh, sure.
Or, and so when you talk about the personality and your voice and those kinds of things, what do you have like a group of questions? Do you have a thing that will help to define that, or is it a like a bunch of emails you've written and maybe it's blog posts? What is it that you do to kind of create your voice?
So I actually developed a process we call self-scribe, and that was one of the first courses. I think it was the first training that we ever did. And basically, GPT, Sherry's nodding her head to verify that I'm right this time. Thank you, Sherry. I'm not always right, by the way. Sherry keeps me on track. It literally has ChatGPT interview you and ask you a series of questions designed to uncover Myers-Briggs, your Kersey-Bates, your DISC, all the various personality profiles, Strengths Finder, and all of that stuff. And then it takes that information and creates a prompt snippet for you that you can use in any of the large language models to tell it who you are in about 2 lines of text.
Wow.
So that's what I do. Now, if you don't want to do that, if you've got other personality tests, this goes back to kind of free versus paid. So if you want to do it easy, I've got the self-scribe. But all I really did is if you've got like a Myers-Briggs personality test you've taken, you've got a DISC, you've got an Enneagram, you've got a Kersey-Bates, you can feed all of that information in as well, and it will literally take that and develop the same thing for you. The difference is that, most of those courses are things are $100 a piece to do them. I know when we do DISC for our staff, I think we pay like $110 or something to have the official DISC done. It's really cool. It's very valuable. But we tried to just use AI to do that.
Okay. And so if you were to build like when in this content strategies and between Ophelia and Cornelius and things, like, could you then attach multiple GPTs to one? So it's like, so I could use like, I'm in Cornelius, but I want to make sure it's taking Ophelia and whatever my personality, and then incorporate that into how it develops the content.
Yeah. So basically, if you can imagine, we have a conversation, and if you're probably too young, but I remember growing up, we had party phone lines, and that meant that you had to pick up the phone and hear if anybody was talking before you dial, because your neighbor might be already talking to somebody. It's kind of like a party line system. So if your neighbor at the end of the wire picks up the phone and is talking to somebody at the other end of the phone, and you pick up in the middle for one question and then hang up the phone, that's kind of the way the call function works within ChatGPTs. So I could be in, as I often am, I'm in what I call Jonathan Mast's one. So it's just called my name on it. And I then can call other ones in at any time I want. So if I want to write a social media, I'll be in Jonathan Mast and I'll call in Viral Wave. And then if I want to do a hook, in fact, let me just show you real quick. You guys can see this. I mean, this is worth sharing, and I think can hopefully help you guys out a little bit. Oops.
Can I just add on top of just a question real quick to that, which is, will you do a class or something that would show us like exactly what you're talking about, how to build that kind of corporate GPT structure where it's like the person at the top and then your marketing department, your HR department, all that stuff? Does that exist yet?
It does not. That is actually on the agenda for one of 3 options for the next challenge. If you guys want that, I'm listening right now. Just tell me in the comments if that's something that you go, wow, that's something unique. How do we build that structure out with this whole army of AI agents? Just throw agents in or something in there and let me see that. Because that's one of them that we're considering right now for the next one. All right, let me show you.
I feel like, to me personally, it's like, because you talk about how you integrate so many different things, and to be able to kind of like, for me, I see it as like the diagram of like you at the top and then all the different departments and the subcategories.
And that's exactly how we do it. Yep, you've got it exactly right.
Great.
So let me just see if I can find mine. So ChatGPT and all the changes they've been making the last couple of days, they have literally gotten rid of like all of my stuff that I had saved in the left-hand menu. So now I need to go dig and find it, and I've saved it all. Here it is. So here's the one I start with. This is called Jonathan's Writing Assistant. And I could call it anything I want, but this is basically the one that's trained on my personality. So let's say that I want to write a social media post, and I can call here and just type in viral, and I can call in Viral Wave. Now, when I have this, it's going to use both my tone and style, everything from self-scribe and everything that I've got programmed into my writing assistant, plus everything that's programmed into Viral Wave. I'm basically getting 2 people on my party line together that I can talk about. And so I'll say, write a post about how an AI prompting framework gives you better results in less time than a long list of prompts. So now what's happening is first it's looking to say, what's Jonathan's tone? What's Jonathan's style? It's going to write in that. And then it's going, okay, what is the viral framework that we studied? This is the one that I paid for the research on that now we've turned into a style. And so here it goes. Why AI prompting framework beats a long list of prompts every time. Stop wasting time scrolling through endless lists of prompts, but I won't read the whole thing, but I'll use this. This is actually pretty good. So I'll actually, that quick, I can create a post when I have an idea and I can create something that I really like and I can use that. Now, if I say, I don't love the hook, now all I can do is I go and I press the @ sign again and I bring in Harriet. Now, when I bring in Harriet, Viral Wave drops off the call, and now I've got Harriet. But Harriet has all the information in the chat so far. So unlike a party line, Harriet knows everything. So now I can say, how about some hooks?
Gotcha. So it just keeps working on the same conversation. So
Right.
once you
And
open the
so
conversation, I got you.
And so now notice it says, okay, no, I didn't tell it anything, but Harriet looked and said, okay, most people are using the AI the wrong way. The what if scenario, the hard truth. And so it's pulled that from this earlier conversation. And I can go back and forth and do that on an ongoing basis as long as I want.
So once I open the chat and kind of create the general framework of it, I can then start adding all the other GPTs to kind of expand on it. One could be, what kind of images should I use? What kind of this, depending on what GPTs I've created, and we'll build on this. Will it be able?
So
Would I be
I can pull in Felix if it'll find it here.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets finicky. Let's see if we can try Philip. Yeah, and this is something I've not figured out why sometimes it just doesn't listen to you. And I don't know why it's not listening to me yet, because I've got other, but I can bring in other GPTs that I have to go ahead and do that if ChatGPT wants to work. Right now it's not working. Normally it does. Then I could design it. I could do an image prompt that would for that post for example.
Right. And then it would tell you then it would give you the prompt to go to Midjourney to kind of create
exactly.
that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, this course would be huge and valuable.
All right, thanks, Benson. I appreciate the input. That's
Can we just say go Eagles right now?
Is there a football game coming up or something?
I heard there might be one.
I'm confused. Yeah, you guys got to remember, I live in Alabama. We don't have a pro football team, so we're all college down here.
Sorry, needed to unmute. Chiefs.
Yeah, thanks, Dale. All right, we'll do a poll at the end of who's going to win. Edward, you're up next. What's on your mind, Edward?
Hey, Jonathan. So, custom GPTs are not something I've dug into, but I have done a ton of prompt chaining and building what I would say are AI machines. And to contribute to the community here, if you don't know, you can put ChatGPT into spreadsheets, whether it's Google Sheets or Excel spreadsheets. And quite honestly, it's the most powerful thing in the world as far as I'm concerned, because you can develop prompts and chain them and send, entire processes to happen. What you're describing with this AI agents, I'm envisioning, I'm the CEO of the company. I'm in a conference room. I have a team, but I'm only bringing in one member at a time, and the whiteboard stays the same. So once I get rid of my copywriter and I bring in my
analogy, it's a great analogy.
So my problem with that is I want my whole team in the conference room at the whiteboard. So my question to you, and it doesn't sound like you can at this point in time, I can't put all my agents together and have boardroom conversations yet.
You can, but you have to add in another GPT. And so I also have what I call boards of advisors or advisory boards. And on my advisory boards, I have multiple people that are represented on that board that come in. So, for example, on my advisory board, part of it just because of who I am as a person, I have multiple people on my advisory board. They're all obviously virtual and they're not real, but one of the people on my board is Tony Stark, even though he's a character in a movie, because I like Tony Stark. My wife doesn't like the fact that Tony Stark's on my board, but it doesn't really matter because it's my board, not hers. And so you can build entire boards out of people. One of my favorite boards, my wife turned me into a Trekkie when we met 20 some years ago, so I love Star Trek stuff, is I actually have a board of advisors, not for my business, but just because it's fun, that has every captain that's ever captained the Enterprise in any Starship or Star Trek movie or TV show. And I then go and ask them, and literally I can have them pit against each other to have conversations. So you can't do it in one chat, but you can create a board that is a chat GPT as well.
Interesting. So then my next question on that is, can I, through API access, call upon my individual agents? Because if I could do that, then I'm thinking I could daisy chain in an Excel spreadsheet. And like, to give people like the theory of this, let's just say like there's 1,000,001 AI writers in the world, right? Like we could exhaust that there's 10,000 of them. But if you wanted to build your own, you could have one agent who writes headlines, one agent that writes introductions, one agent that researches and creates an article outline, one agent that creates your graphics, one that makes your conclusion, one that does your SEO optimization, one that's an editor, et cetera, et cetera. So you could have this whole team of 10 agents, and together they all write one article.
Yes.
As a cohesive daisy chain. So I guess that's what I'd be most interested in if you're going to do this agents course, again, because I haven't done a lot in custom GPTs. Yeah, I would want to see like that power, because I guess where it's just not exciting is the problem that I said to you when I first asked, is just like bringing in one employee at a time.
Right.
It's exciting, don't get me wrong, but it's like
No,
almost
no,
not
I get,
good
I get
enough.
it. Yeah, I can tell you based on who our audience is, I'm not likely to bring in APIs in any training I do, just
Sure,
based on
that's
who the
fine.
audience is. But you can use
Can you do it
actions
though?
yeah, you can use actions in ChatGPT. So when you build out a custom GPT, there's a button down below called actions, and actions allow you to call APIs from basically anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll look into that.
So
Ping
Thank
me
you.
in the group and you and I can talk about that one, because
yeah, that's
that is
Sherry's really good at that stuff. Thank you, Sherry. I appreciate that. All right,
Thanks, Sherry.
let's
I
see.
will.
Anisha, you are up next. What's on your mind, Anisha?
Hey everybody, another great training.
Thank you.
I had I'm a creative. This stuff is like fun and overwhelming, and then ideas start to flow, and then I don't do what I'm supposed to be over here doing because and so but what I have learned is AI is not going anywhere. And if
No.
anybody's going to spend any amount of time learning something new, it probably should be in this area here. So
I'm
that is
biased, but I
what I'm
agree with you
spending time.
100%. Yeah.
So I just had a couple of, I guess, clarity questions.
Sure.
And I won't be long.
No, you're good.
So the first question I had, and it's okay if this one doesn't really fit, like you said, the framework, what you're teaching,
Yep.
because it might be advanced. But you mentioned typing mind yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a builder at heart, so I love to find out how things work and then how I can make them work in whatever I
I
want to
love
do
that.
with them. So what is typing mind? Because I got on there and I was like, okay. And I understand you said you do a lot of testing there. What is the best way to describe a newbie to a newbie? Not necessarily new to tech or new to trying things, but new to that platform. What is it gonna assist me with doing? Or
The best way I can think to describe Typing Mind for most people is it is an interface that connects to multiple chat engines, including
okay,
ChatGPT, Claude, all the Google stuff, you name it. And it does so at the API level, meaning benefits to you. One, you're paying wholesale costs when you use it. You almost always have uptime. In other words, if the API goes down, ChatGPT goes down somewhat frequently. I have rarely, if ever, maybe once, had the API go down on me. API is much more reliable. It's actually what you're connecting to the same engines that ChatGPT is connecting to when you use the
okay,
API.
okay.
Because ChatGPT is just really an interface on top of those engines. Typing Mind is a different interface, but it gives you access to multiple engines instead.
Okay.
That's I'm
So
oversimplifying it, but that's the
I need to
simplest
grab
version.
API keys for the engines that I want to use. I have an API
Yes.
for chat, but I would need to get one for Claude and like I don't know if
Google.
Perplexity has an
Yep,
API,
they do.
Google.
And then there's also one called Open Router that we use a lot. Open Router is kind of like a wholesaler of APIs. So it's, if you've ever been down where the oil comes in from the ships and anywhere, you can see it goes in these big things. And it's not just the Shell truck that comes. The Shell truck comes and the Speedway truck and the Marathon. They all get the oil out of the same pot, essentially. And in that case, we're having the same type of experience. Open Router has access to all of these engines that you can get, and it's a slightly easier way. There's a slight premium you pay, but it's slight. I mean, like portions of pennies to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would look into that. Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. My other question was around, so you discussed briefly, and I think you may have led with paid traffic and things. And I see how almost depressing the suppression of traffic to your groups can be, and how the visibility is so is discouraging when you're starting, in my opinion,
It's hard
on
when you're
Facebook. And
starting.
I'm talking about Facebook.
No matter where, it's hard because you feel
Oh
like you're crying
gosh.
into the wilderness and no
And
one's
nobody,
listening.
exactly. And I know everybody's busy. So if you had a mix, if you had a pie, and you had to separate the pie based on organic traffic, like I saw the dollar a day
Yep.
thing, and I know that takes the post from inside the group and puts it on Facebook. So hopefully people will join the group. And I do like that. If you had, I'm at like 30, and these people are people I know, I'm trying to get actually interested people who are willing to participate in the group, who are doers in that way, content creators. If
Mhm.
you had the pie, how would you divide your paid efforts and your organic efforts if you're just trying to get to like your first, couple hundred
No,
members?
great
I don't
question.
have a huge influence. Like I don't have like I don't have any community anywhere. I'm me.
So
um,
let me just tell you what I did. So when
okay.
I started this, no one even knew that I used AI when I started this community in May of 2023. In August, when we really started getting serious about building it, nobody knew that I was an expert in AI. Nobody considered me an expert in AI. I probably wasn't an expert in AI. I certainly would not have said I was. I would believe, because it was my belief that I was going to have to do this for 12 months. I just walked in with that belief. Thank you, Gary Vaynerchuk, for telling me. I literally walked in with the belief that this was a 12-month commitment on my part. I just said, well, I'm just going to do it for 12 months and we're going to see what happens. I never in my wildest dreams imagined that I would be sitting here now in 2025 teaching people how to build a group, that we'd have over 340,000 people in it, that I'd be getting offered to go speak literally around the world and get paid to do it. None of that is why I did it or what I could have predicted, but I love it. It's awesome.
I want to be where you are in this.
But I
And
want to point out
I'm in the
literally,
healthcare
yeah.
field. Like I know I have niches that we could definitely use this. And that's where I just overthink things. I overthink like
Yeah.
my efforts and like how to go. And because I know I'm a quick starter, the
Yep.
consistency thing for most creatives is where we all kind of fall off. We get excited,
It
we go,
is.
go, go, and then
Oh
it's like
yeah.
off the cliff.
I'm that ADD entrepreneur. Trust me, I get it
Yes.
full
So
force.
I want to just, get it. I just want to wish there was
When
more to
when
go,
you
but
get started, you have to accept that for the first 90 days to 6 months.
probably
So
6 months. Yeah.
you're going to do this and your mom's not going to watch, your spouse isn't going to watch. I used to be devastated and my wife knows it. I'd put a post up that I was so proud of and so happy, or a video, and I'd go, honey, did you see that? And she'd go, I don't look at your stuff. Now, she wasn't trying to be rude, but she didn't care about that. I mean, she cared about me, but not about that stuff.
Yeah.
A coach of mine said, you've got it figured out when you don't care if your mom or your spouse looks at your content.
Yeah.
because that means you're not, because if we're just waiting on their approval, it's hard.
My husband's been
But
pushing me to create content. He's the opposite.
yeah,
He's like, just get out here. You need to get on
good.
out here. He copyrights, so he's great with words. Great with words. But yeah, like I'm a doer. I love doing and creating, and I've found this fork in the road when it comes to content creation as far as front facing, because I would prefer to be creating. And
Yep,
I'm just trying to turn the camera, I guess, back. But it sounds like, from what you're saying, the consistency, and this is what I've heard across multiple channels as I listen to people, of course, on YouTube talk about
sure.
growth and community building. It just sounds like you just have to keep going,
You
basically.
do. I made a commitment to myself, which was the last commitment I was going to break, and that was that I was going to post every single day.
Yeah.
There were days, and I'm not kidding, Anisha, when it was 11:30 at night and I had went to bed and I realized as I was falling asleep I hadn't made a post, and I would get up out of bed and my wife would go, "What are you doing?" And I'm going, "I forgot to post today." And I would go grab my phone, go in the other room so I didn't bother her, and I would make a video or I would post. One of my early videos that got a lot of videos is I went to pick my son up before he had his driver's license, and it was dark out. It was like 8 o'clock at night. It was dark. It was in the winter. And I turned on the dome light in my car. And you can imagine how weird a guy with a white beard looks with a dome light, because the only thing that shows up is the white beard. And I did a video and I said, I'm doing this video at 8 something at night with my dome light because I committed that I was going to do a video every single day, and I forgot to do one today, and I have to do it. And I just want to let you know, thank you for watching. And that was pretty much the video.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
the time, that was one of my best performing videos I ever had.
Wow.
And so you can't predict, but you've just got to develop that habit, and that consistency is everything. Gary Vaynerchuk challenged me, not personally, but through one of his videos, that said, if you will do this for a year, you will
Yeah, that's
change your
what,
life.
yeah. And Myron
And
Golden said he got on YouTube with like a 10-year. It was like
yeah, I
some
mean, look,
ridiculously long time, 10 years. Let me see what I can do in 10 years, you know? So
my, and
yeah,
that's one of the things I love about Myron. Myron's got a
yeah,
really long, but look at the success that man has had,
yeah,
because he's tenacious.
yeah,
And I mean, yeah, huge mad respect for Myron. I love listening to
yeah.
him.
He's great. Yeah.
But just
Okay.
another one. Yeah, you look at his first videos. Russell Brunson's another big one. Russell Brunson's big on video. It won't take but 30 seconds if you look for Russell Brunson's first video. I mean, he's 40 something now and he looks like a kid. He looked like a real kid when he was like 20 and did his first video. And it's terrible because we've got to suck at this before we can get
Before we
good.
get better. Yep.
And just accept it. It's just part of life.
Yep.
You got this, though. I got no doubt, Anisha. You got this.
Thank you. Teeny tiny question.
Yeah.
People keep dropping image FX into, like, as one of the options for image generation, and I'm seeing it, well, from what they're dropping, I'm seeing it like, it looks kind of like Flux in the output, which is great because I love Flux. But I look it up online and there's two versions. There's a Google FX, I mean image FX, like, and then there's a FX AI or image FX.ai, which is a subscription. So I'm thinking maybe everybody's using the Google version.
Let me look at the logo.
I
So
wonder if you know what I'm talking. Yeah, if anybody knows what I'm talking about, because I've just seen it across a few groups.
So
The image
Google Labs has it, and then there's also an Image FX, like you said, .ai. I believe that most of what we've been seeing in online has actually been the image IMGFX.ai. And
IMG.
although it's I'm looking at their site. It is absolutely what I'm doing. So my understanding, though, is that their product is that they're actually using the
But they
same
built
tools in the
something.
background. That's my understanding, that they're basically using something in the background and making a new interface. I don't know that to be the fact, but I have never heard of ImageFX other than with Google as being an AI image engine. It's always been as an AI image provider, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I just was trying to figure out which one
It's
I
kind of like Leonardo. If you can go to Leonardo and you can use all these models, you can go to Poe and use all these models. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. People love them. I'm kind of a go to the source, and I
Me
like using
too.
the
I'm straight
source.
to the source. So the source in this case would be Google or
In that, no, it's hard. They're not telling us. So my guess is it's probably Midjourney or Flux.
that they're using.
Yeah. They both have APIs, so it's probably Flux. Flux has a very inexpensive API.
Yeah, I'm on there through
They could also be
Replicate.
using Stable Diffusion. Stable Diffusion's had an API forever, and they can do really good stuff too. So very cool.
All
All
right,
right.
I think that
Thanks,
was it.
Anisha. All
Thank
right.
you, Jonathan.
Go get this. You got it. I
I
don't
know.
doubt it one bit. All right. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. We are back to Violet. Violet, what is on your mind, Violet?
Okay, just a quick question, Jonathan. One
Sure.
of the things that made me very intimidated yesterday is when you said you post 15 times a day because
Not
I'm like,
always.
how do I post once a day and make it amazing? And then like this whole other level. But I see that you use ChatGPT like for a lot of your stuff. And, so
99% of it.
it makes it like if I have a video on CRM, I can ask ChatGPT to. So I'm getting that. What I love about your group and why I'm scared to start mine because I don't want to fall flat on my face is I love how other people are posting and you allow other experts to
Hmm.
like bring the community alive. How do you do that? Like, how do you get other people to keep the momentum going so it's not, there's no way I'm going to do 15 a day. If I could do
You
two or
don't have
three a
to.
day, I'd be
You don't
stoked.
have to.
Get other people to be as active. Like, how do you inspire that wave?
I have never asked anybody to post in the group. It just happens. And here's how it happens. As soon as people start resonating with you, so you're going to teach about sales training and all that cool stuff. Sorry, guys, I just touched something on my microphone and I don't know what I changed. So I hope you can still hear me. Can you guys still hear me all right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just inadvertently, I'm twisting a dial on my microphone before I realize what I'm doing. I'm like, uh-oh, what am I doing? So hopefully that still sounds good. Anyway, as soon as people like you and you're great at building rapport, so you're going to be talking about sales and things like that, you will find that people will want to be part of that community because people really desire to be a part of a community. And then some of those people are going to share information because they resonate with you, they have an idea, whatever. So it just happens. I'd love to tell you that it's perfectly planned and orchestrated and everything else. But Ken Moskowitz, a great idea, who yesterday did a 40-minute video that he put up. I didn't ask Ken to do that. Ken told me
Do you
afterwards,
put somewhere like, please, because I see
no,
some groups and it's just one person, like the moderator posting, their glamour shot once a day with like a motivational quote. And I feel like
yep.
those Facebook groups are dead. That's not what I want. I don't want to make it about me. Do you have somewhere like this is for everyone? And do you approve each post? Like, how do you have time
No.
to do all that?
I don't. No, we let everybody post and we just get rid of people that misbehave. And Sherry can tell you because Sherry helps me moderate. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of people every day that misbehave. And it's just part of life. I mean, we laugh sometimes at the antics that people will pull. As an admin and a moderator, the one thing that if I do anything different, and I don't know that I do, but if I do, I let things just run and then I get rid of people that abuse the system. So instead of filtering before it goes on, I trust people inherently. I know that there are people out there that aren't going to listen, and I can tell you what most of their names sound like because it's the same people all the time. Not always the same people, but it's just like, yeah, I don't know. There's certain parts of the world that people just don't listen to the rules. They're just trying to make money. Such is life. It happens. I don't get mad about it. I don't take it personally. It's not a big deal. I don't get upset about it. I just remove them from the group so that they can't do anything. And now we suspend them because Facebook got mad because we removed too many people from the group. So now we just suspend them. Um, it just happens. Let people be themselves and they will naturally want to add value. It's a very normal thing for human nature to go, oh, I want to participate in that conversation. I think what you're describing is very common, and that's where admins are out there and they're worried, uh-oh, Violet might say something that I won't like. You know what? If Violet says something I don't like, all I have to do is remove the post and take a screenshot and go, hey, by the way, don't be Violet in the future. I don't know if I've ever done that, but that's all I'd have to do. Part of this goes back to if you are consistent in posting, Violet, and somebody gets on your group and causes trouble, you will find that people will come to your defense and will help you get rid of them.
How quickly did you see people start posting in your group? And question, when you invited them, in the invite, like, do you have a template for the invite? Like, are you saying, I'd love, if you have anything to share, please feel free?
No, I literally just went on Facebook and they have an invite to group feature, and I would do it until Facebook said, stop doing that, which it did pretty much
Okay.
every day. And it would suspend me for a day or two, and then I'd do it again. One of the ways you do it is you don't just post content, sometimes you post questions. So for example, if you go to ChatGPT and say, I want more engagement in my group is filled with entrepreneurs and business leaders who love AI. Give me 5 questions that I can ask them today. In fact, let's not talk about it. Let's go do it a minute. Let's have some fun.
Okay.
So let's go into ChatGPT and let's just try it here. I want to increase engagement in my AI prompting for entrepreneurs Facebook group. The group is made up primarily of entrepreneurs and business leaders who are interested in AI and AI prompting. Please give me 5 to 10 questions that I could ask about this topic and this audience that would cause massive engagement and response. And let's see, I have no idea what we're going to get, but let's have fun and find out. My guess is we'll get something. By the way, I'm not even using my tone or anything. I'm just using ChatGPT here. Here we go. What's the most mind-blowing AI prompt you've used or seen? If you could have AI automate one part of your business today, what would it be? What's your biggest frustration with AI prompting? Do you trust AI generated content? Every one of those 4 I'd post. They're all good. And when you post it, in fact, let me show you. Here's how I'm going to do it. So we're gonna go do it right here live. Let's go to the group. There we go. When you do it, post it this way. So you post it, and then you got this little colored icon down below. By the way, I grab purple because it really jumps out, not because it's my favorite color.
Because it's violet.
It's violet, exactly. See, violet, I didn't even think of that. Wow, I'm slow today.
Hello.
So watch, just like that. Done. And I bet in an hour we'll have 50 or 60 comments on that. That's how you begin that engagement. And then once people comment, then they get more comfortable doing other things, and then they'll start doing, they'll start posting. So let's go grab another one. Here we go. This one could be dangerous. What's the wildest business news? So here's one benefit of groups, by the way. I can, get rid of the bullet points, Jonathan. Try that again here. There we go. I'll pick violet again. Let's do a little bit shades of violet. There we go. Crikey. There we go. In this case, we're going to go schedule. So I'm going to pick today, and it is currently 3:30 where I'm at. So let's put it out for 3 hours. So at 6:25. Boom. So now in 3 hours, I've already scheduled a post that's going to show up, and it'll be there. And by then we'll have some people that'll have done in this. And so what you want to do is you want to chain some of them together, because some of those people will come back to read the responses, and then they'll see I had another question up there. Okay. So those are ways that you can build engagement. Is that helpful?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I wanted to make sure, because some people are like, the social media algorithm knows when you're writing with AI and it's going to, shadow ban you and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Unpopular opinion. I don't believe shadow banning occurs. They either ban you or they don't. If you're shadow banned, it's because your content sucks. You're not actually shadow banned. I may be wrong on that but it's a whole lot easier for me to accept that it's my responsibility to fix that I'm not showing up than it is that I'm blaming. Everybody goes, oh, I'm shadow banned because nobody's interacting. No, in reality, you're shadow banned because you're not writing content your audience gives a crap about.
Yeah.
It's really, I believe it's that simple. I could be wrong, but I believe it's that simple.
Well, awesome, right. Jonathan. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
I've gotten past my paralysis analysis and I'm going to get started.
Yes. No more analysis. Just do.
Yes.
All right. Message me if you get stuck. I'll give
you
you a proverbial
I will.
kick.
You know I will,
I'll give
friend.
you a proverbial kick.
Okay.
All right, guys, we're at 2 hours, but I'm going to keep going. I've got another almost hour yet. So if you've got questions, I'm going to stick around. Just a reminder, if you need to drop off, we've got really good people sticking today, but if you need to drop off, we are going to do that on Wednesday. We're going to have another AMA session, and I will send everybody emails with links, but I'm here for the next hour if you guys need me to be, because that's when my next podcast is. So with that, Michelle, you're up. What's on your mind?
Yay, I kind of twofold questions and ouch, that hurt.
I'm sorry.
The if people aren't looking at your
Your
post,
content, it's your
yeah, your
content. Yeah,
content.
I know. It's self-talk that I give to myself to make sure that I don't blame somebody else for failure, because I
Right.
believe it's up to me. Even if it's true, then I've got to figure out how to solve it, because I've got to make my content so good that Facebook goes, we can't shadow ban him. Oh my goodness.
He's got too much engagement. So
Exactly.
my two questions are about I'm a closet techie girl. I love tech, and I could get off into a little tangent real quick with AI and chatbots and all this, but I want to use them for my business. And I
Okay.
want to use them two different ways. I want to use them for as my assistants because I'm a
Mhm.
solopreneur right now. You want to call me that, but it's me.
Yep.
Um, and then I also want to use them for my clients. And it's like when you do a soft skill, it's kind of hard to think of things that you would give them. And then my other thing with that is um, I'm not sure my people are techie savvy or they would go to a chat bot. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So those are my two questions.
Well, so one, you don't necessarily have to worry about whether they'll go to a chat bot or not if you're adding value. So what I would do is I would sit down with Ophelia tonight or tomorrow or over the weekend and have a chat. And no pun intended. And literally go, okay, Ophelia, just exactly what you told me. By the way, if you want it to be easy, just do it on your phone, and there's a little microphone icon
Yeah,
on your
I
phone,
love
and
it.
just talk. And just like you just told me, Michelle, go, hey, here's what I'm trying to do. Here's what I'm trying to accomplish. I need some advice. You will be amazed at the guidance that you get. Now, you don't have to do any of it. It's just advice. But one, ChatGPT is always friendly, so that's always the nice thing about it. And two, it will likely bring you ideas you hadn't thought of before. Literally, when I went through Ophelia, it came up with ideas that in the last 22 months I've never thought of. And one of those, the micro courses that I mentioned that I'm going to start doing, I think that's brilliant. I could be wrong. Maybe nobody will like them, but I think it's brilliant. I love it. And I know it will build more community. And that's what I want to do. I want to build more community. And so, again, you never know which of those ideas that comes out of that you're going to go, that's the one I needed.
Right. And so I've had really, that's why I'm here because I have had bad, not bad, just crickets when I do groups, you
Sure.
know. And I know part of it is me because I'm like, I'm not going to spend all my time in here posting things and nobody's saying anything to me.
And you
Uh,
will for a while have to do that. The
you're right.
reality is, you've got to do that, because imagine if somebody comes in, there's 10 posts, or they come in, there's 400. And all of a sudden they're much more likely to stick around. And if they see, wow, Michelle's posting twice a day or once, even just once a day, they know they can rely on that. You guys, I think it was Violet who mentioned, I may have wrong, I apologize, about, 15 times a day. I don't normally post that often. I've got to be on a tear to do that. And sometimes I will, but it's rare. I try to do 2 to 3 times minimum.
So do you let people in? I'm sure you never deal with this, but if when you start, there's only maybe one or two or five people that are in, do you start then or you wait till you have 20 people and then you
Oh
start?
no.
Or how do
I
you?
created I created an entire library of content before I invited my first person.
Mhm.
And then, by the way, to get jump started, go invite your friends.
Right.
Hey, I called up every friend, well, not called up, but I invited every friend I knew. Every person I was connected with on Facebook got invited. There are still people that I know that I've been friends with on Facebook for years that have not joined my group almost 2 years later. I don't care, it's fine. But they got invited. And here's the key. Some of those people did. So getting your first 10 to 20 is generally pretty easy because you've got just enough friends that are going to go, oh, Michelle's doing something. I want to see what it is. I'll be nice. That's fine to get started because here's the thing, Facebook doesn't know why they're doing it. They're just seeing people that are doing it. So the more people that engage, the better. The more people that like your posts, the better. Even if you're the only one talking for the first 3 months, keep talking because at some point, and this is something I can't prove, but I believe all of the algorithms, Google, Facebook, whatever, they're watching and they're waiting. So when you get on tonight and you open your new group and you post 3 new posts,
It'll be GHL. It will
all
not
right,
be.
that's fine, wherever you're at. GHL is a different story though, because they're not paying as much attention. The
Right, right.
Facebooks and the Googles are though.
Mhm.
And if you post 3, they go, oh, that's nice. And tomorrow, if you post twice, they go, oh, that's nice. Around day 90 to 120, they go, wow, Michelle's been doing this for 120 days. I think we could actually share her content with some people because I think she'll do it again tomorrow because she's demonstrated for so long she has. And that's when your group starts to grow. Now, to give you guys an example, so a year ago, our group's been for 22 months now. A year ago, I was speaking in the January 20th, roughly, and we hit 40,000 people. Now I'm at 340,000. Prior to that, literally like in January, or I'm sorry, in December of 2023, I was at like 25,000 people. It's like a snowball rolling downhill. So that means for the first 9 months I did it, I added about 20,000 people. Now that's not bad. I'm not upset about that. But I also was in AI, something that was really hot. So
Right.
if you're not in something like that, you may get 10% of that. But if you have a
Would you
group that has
recommend?
2,000 engaged people, oh my goodness, that's amazing as far as I have 340 some thousand. They're not all engaged. If you had a group of 1,000 engaged people, that's hugely valuable.
So would you recommend even starting in GHL?
Sure,
Or
as long as you don't think your community will mind going there, there's nothing wrong with that. Let me ask you this, Michelle, where is your target audience hanging out at right now?
Facebook
Then
and
start your community there.
do a community there?
You
But
tell me,
okay.
you said they are or not techie. I don't remember now. Sorry.
Well, most of the people I talk to, they have a fear of AI. Most, when I talk to people one-on-one, they really don't understand the
Sure.
value of AI. And I understand that it could make their life so much easier, especially for people who are overwhelmed or stressed or stuff.
So
I mean,
these are not your adventuresome souls that are looking for a new adventure.
no.
Then you need to focus on making, my opinion, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. My wife says, stop
I
telling people what to do. It's my nature, sorry. You need to focus on making it as easy and as low friction as possible for them to get in your sphere of influence. And if they're not adventurous, then don't start on GHL, don't start on School, don't start on Kajabi, start on LinkedIn or Facebook, wherever they're currently at, where they're hanging out right now. So if they're out there like I am looking at pictures of my grandkids, because my daughter-in-law is amazing, but sometimes she gets busy and forgets to send me pictures, so I get to grab them off Facebook and I want to see them. Or I'm checking up on my kids, seeing what they're doing, and they've got a hobby farm, and I love checking in on that. Meet me there. Let me meet you there and you become then part of that, what I want to see on a regular basis. And all of a sudden, then I feel like I know, like, and trust you. And then down the road, you can talk about moving to another community if you want to.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's my advice. Great questions,
I
though,
know
Michelle.
you're right. I like to be in control, and GHL I can control.
You have a lot more control in GHL. You absolutely do. But I don't think your audience, from the way you described it, is going to care, and they're not going to go there. And so it doesn't do
Okay.
you any good if you have all the control in the world. It's kind of like my rules, my house. That's great, but there's nobody in my house except for my wife and my son. So, nobody else is coming over to see what my rules are. So I can get away with my rules in my house. But
Yeah, the
if I
only
go
way
to
I could sell GHL is to say for the privacy and that our conversations will be private and secret.
And if you think that's enough of a thing, then you could try it out. But my guess is it's still going to be, based on the way you've described it, if you've got an audience that's already skeptical, they're not going to embrace that new technology as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Great discussion. Thank you. No, that was awesome. Carl, you're next. Good to see you again. What's on your mind, Carl?
Well, thanks again, Jonathan. Can you hear me okay?
I can, loud and clear. You got one of the
Oh,
best
wonderful.
voices. I love that.
Well, you know what? I got the podcast set up here. I'm ready to go big time. Just
I
kidding.
love it.
Yeah, thanks. Listen, a couple of comments I think I'd like to make. Just listening to
Please.
the group, the teaching is amazing. Thanks again for the 30, 60, 90-day plan, Cornelius and Ophelia. Affectionately, they will be on my shoulder. I appreciate that. Thanks, Jonathan.
Of course.
You posted something. I'm going to post in the group here. And I just, I made a small comment when you posted, and it was called Why Your AI First Strategy is Setting You Up to Fail. And I think this is going to really help the group here because collectively, we really want to add value to whoever we're creating a
Absolutely.
group for, right? So I wrote some things down here and then speaking to the AI agents thing and those kinds of things. So the first thing I've done is I've created a Google document. I know Sherry uses Excel and creates a spreadsheet for those GPTs.
Yeah.
One of the other reasons I've gone through all your training isn't just to buy all your stuff, Jonathan. It's just tremendous value in the GPTs as well.
Thank
Because
you.
I have a background, and I can't speak to everybody else's, but because of my background, over 20 years in the digital marketing space, my thought processes are when I look at, and I read your article here, and I'm going to post it in the group because I think it's well worth reading
Thank
because we
you.
really need to apply our AI strategy to our own business first. I know this might sound very
Absolutely.
basic, but we tend to sometimes overlook the fundamentals.
Yep, we do.
When we look at the GPTs, as I created them, I also created a workflow. So I'm working through the workflow of GPTs. I'm saying, okay, this is how I'm applying it to my business. Let's take a look at these other businesses and see where they might be missing some things, some overlooked opportunities, underperforming opportunities, or just opportunities that might be available that you can think of through your experiences and insights. So now we can take those GPTs and say, well, how would I apply this to those businesses? And I think that content creation isn't going to be an issue. I think the big thing and the big takeaways for me uh, on this, Jonathan, were really to stay focused.
Absolutely.
Developing outcomes for your business and for those that you're consulting with, and essentially you're really consulting. Whether you want to call yourself a consultant or not, you're providing information to alleviate stresses, to increase people's time schedules, like reduce constraints in their lives, to improve performances, reduce costs, improve profitability. There's only three ways to grow a business. And without getting into all of that, I just wanted to say that this is probably one of the most profound readings. And again, I'm not saying it to flatter you, Jonathan, but what you've done here in this, and I think we really need to kind of set aside those things that are overwhelming us and say, what are the core things that I need to focus on to move me forward? Because we can get so busy with all the stuff that we don't do the core things that we need to do, like setting up our Facebook group, setting up a workflow. Start with something. I think you said, Jonathan, imperfect action is better than perfect action never
100%.
taken, right?
Correct.
So just to encourage everybody here, I'm going to post it in here. If you want to read it, it's worth the read. I've really taken my time very slowly reading this because I've made some notes on this. And every time I listen to one of these sessions, I listen to everyone in the group. I actually look at the chats. I post it into Google Docs. I then take that document with all the things that are saying, the points, Sherry's points that she's making, the prompts, and then I synthesize that into my strategy. But start with something and don't allow yourself to get overwhelmed, because taking steps, even when you do feel overwhelmed, take some steps so that you're not paralyzed. And then eventually this stuff will start clicking and making sense to you. But start doing it in your own business and in your own, and develop the mindset. So when you go there, you got to understand most people have no clue. There's only 88 of us on this call. There were 150 or 160. And you consider the universe of people that are just, they don't even understand this. And you're getting a dialed in version that you can bring clarity and understanding and knowledge to people that otherwise wouldn't be able to. You can shortcut that process. And by adding the value up front, you can say, hey, listen, if you're overwhelmed doing this, no problem. I can help you with that. So anyway, I thought
100%.
I'd just throw that in there, Jonathan, because, we can be caught in the weeds sometimes.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that, Carl. Thank you for the kind words. And I owe everybody a huge apology. I was somebody was asking about Carl's mic, and I thought for whatever reason I needed to double check. And apparently, I've been talking through my microphone on my MacBook for the last 2 hours, not the one in front of me. So hopefully, I didn't sound terrible in that process. I apologize to everybody.
Sounds good, Jonathan.
Good. It
sounds fine. Sounds like you're using the mic in front of you.
I am now. I switched it. But I was
okay. Well, it was fine before.
Oh, good. Well, the new MacBook brought something with it then. That's good to know. All right, Felicia, you're up next. Felicia, what's on your mind, Felicia?
Hey, thanks for asking me back. Quick
Absolutely.
question. So if I plan on doing some LinkedIn strategies, do you think I should do it off my personal page? Like that's what I see business owners doing. They're writing on their personal pages stories. They're marketing on their personal pages.
Yeah, if you're on LinkedIn, my opinion is that nobody follows businesses on LinkedIn. I mean, if we do, it's only because we want to work there or because we're trying to sell them something. It's not because we actually care about the business. So I don't follow any vendors that I work with. I follow the people, but I don't follow the companies.
Okay. I just want to make sure that was the best way to go is use that content strategy and actually use it on my regular LinkedIn page and then send them.
I would know. We just finished a LinkedIn challenge, and I know on that, Casey, who was helping me out, talked about sometimes there's logic to putting it on your business page and sharing it to your personal page on LinkedIn. But I'd actually have to go back and check the notes on why he said and when he said that was appropriate. But that's the only thing that I can think of.
Yeah, I usually do a really great job at LinkedIn. I do a great job when I'm working for someone else. When working for myself, I need to figure out how to post things that go viral on LinkedIn, not just when it's my companies. And did you see the post from Stripe asking for people who were into AI?
No, I did not.
I used to work for Stripe. I saw that you like Stripe, and I remember that I
use
sent it
it.
to Entrepreneur. I'll send it to you.
Would you? That'd be great. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
He's asking, yeah. They're asking for people who are into AI, and I think you probably could be a good recommendation. So,
well, thank you. I appreciate that very much. No, I did not see that, so that would be amazing. Thank you so much.
I'll send it.
All right, Christina, you are next. Christina, what's on your mind?
Hey, sorry, I needed to find the audio button.
Oh, you're good.
Thanks so much. I'm sorry it's late for you. And
it's not bad.
To have a podcast soon.
I've got a podcast in 40 minutes yet, so it's all good.
Oh, okay. So I had a question on the groups, and somebody else's comment or, talking about getting another GHL. What's your take on so many people coming out with new communities on GHL? There's not a way to centralize them because they're independently branded. So you're not supposed to know that they're within GHL. I mean, those of us who are in GHL, we can know, but that's the downside. I'm already overwhelmed. I mean, I value 3 or 4 people's content, such as your own, highly. And now here I am. I'm like, oh gosh, let's try to figure that out. Any thoughts on that? I mean,
I think what you're going to find is that the cream will rise to the top. With Go High Level, there is an app. We just posted about it. It should be in the group called Go Collab. It's GOKOLLAB. And if you do that, you can join any GHL group through that. Kind of like with the
cool.
Kajabi app does that. And why can I not think of the other one? Man, my brain is mush. I apologize.
You're talking about School?
School, thank you. Yeah. Sometimes my brain
Okay.
just doesn't function. Yeah. There's a school app and all that type of stuff. So I don't see it as a huge issue. I think again the cream will rise to the top and people will be willing to go to watch the content. It's no different than in the day when we had 20 different newspapers and we read the columnists that we liked in where they were, or there were 187 different news cable channels, and I'm exaggerating obviously, but we watched the people that we wanted to watch. I think it'll become so easy to switch, we won't think of it very much. And then there'll be other ways that we connect with people as well. It's one of the reasons I want to grab email lists, because I want to be able to email everybody and let them know, what's going on as well, because there's different mediums to connect with people.
So you're saying that you can centralize various independent white label branded
Not, I mean,
communities?
I can't bring my school group and my Go Kill Lab group and my Kajabi group together. No,
No. No, but the
no.
different, like, for example, you and a whole nother creator have two independent communities.
You can see, you can,
Right now that have
you
separate
can,
logins.
you can, if you, are you
Good.
using the same email address? Because if you are, you should be able to see the various communities that you're a part of on the left-hand side.
Yeah, if
So
you
it
go
is
to the
like,
Go, yeah, if you
oh,
go to
okay,
the
that
Go
totally
Collab, then you
solves
can see.
my
Yep.
entire concern. Awesome. Cool. Well, there you
Yes.
go.
No.
Now I feel more open to a GHL community. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Glad. No, glad we could help out. Mr. Tom Tran, what is on your mind, my friend? Nice to see you. You're muted,
Likewise,
sir.
brother. It's been a while.
It has been. It has been.
I just wanted to add another comment that I just found out yesterday. So I had a ticket in with High Level for that very issue. So people were
Yep.
saying that you could scroll through your all the communities that you're a part of in that Go Collab app, and I have a heck of a time trying to figure that out. And a buddy of mine had said when you log in, right? And to Sherry's point, if you're using the same email address, the password doesn't have to be the same. You can choose the option to log in with the secure code. Here was the aha moment for me yesterday. I felt like such a dummy. Once you log in, it gives you another screen. So after you get the code, right? You
Yep.
drop it in, and then you get to the other screen. You can actually scroll. Once you get to this page where you can select, I had no idea. I thought I could only pick between two, and I'm a member of like probably a dozen of them. So that's something that, FYI for everybody. In Go Collab, when you're on the desktop version, just like Sherry had said, you can click that drop down menu, but then the communities that are not listed as public, you're still not going to be able to see. So there is
Right.
going to be a little bit of confusion there, and I just learned this too. So
Yeah. And for those of you that want to know, we just made our community public today. So that will make it easier to find out. So
awesome, Jonathan. So here are the questions that I had for you, brother. The first one, I wanted to get your opinion, like in terms of maybe best practices or your thoughts around this. I'm seeing, I guess the question is like in some groups, I'm seeing that they'll have, say, different private channels in that group. So,
yes.
right, in an effort to basically maybe keep things simple and have one group have paid channels, and I'm seeing other groups that have a free group and then a paid group and then another group. What are your kind of thoughts on that? Like having strategy A versus strategy B?
Well, I'm not a big fan, and then I can go either way. I'm not a big fan of having private channels inside a community because I think it creates exclusion, and I don't think most people appreciate that. I know other people can argue, and I can like see the point that it encourages people to upgrade because I want access to that. Just a personal opinion, I don't do that. So, that's just a different way to do things. I may change my mind at some point, but and again, I don't know if that's answering your question exactly, but that's definitely kind of the way I look at it is I'm like, I don't want you going into for example, your community now and going, yeah, there's this private tab. I paid for this course. Why do I not have access to that?
No, that's fair. Okay. And then just a follow-up question about scheduling your posts. I know in a couple of different challenges and even earlier today, you were walking us through how, like say when you're pulling on Facebook in the first comment section, if you drop
Yes.
in, say, for example, our blog post, it'll pull in the feature image.
Yes.
So a question around that, when you're doing that, is there a way to do that if you're publishing live versus scheduling? So then the feature image pulls into that post?
So I'm not sure I understood. It doesn't matter whether you schedule or not if you're using a third-party tool. So like I use
Oh.
and everything has its its issues. So I love socialmonials, for example, but socialmonials posting in groups is a pain in the butt because it works just the same way. And it's not socialmonials, it's a Facebook issue.
Sure.
But it's hard to do because you've got to actually approve it. It's the way Instagram used to work years ago. You could use Hootsuite, but you could schedule it, but your post actually wouldn't go unless you clicked on it in your phone at the time you wanted it to go. So it's pretty much useless. And that's pretty much the way that all the things are with Facebook groups, because I don't know why, but Zuckerberg and team have determined that they want to turn off like every possible feature that would make a group easy to use in Facebook. I don't get it. I honestly don't, but it's not for me to get. He's got a few more zeros on the right side of his equation than I do.
Sure. So just to see if I understood you correctly, it's the scheduling tool that you're using that allows you to put that first comment.
Yes, correct. Yep.
Perfect. And then the last follow-up to that, have you tried using the native GHL social planner to do that? Because that's that one thing I haven't figured out, and I'll probably figure it out just by contacting support. Didn't know if you've used it or not yet, though.
Our team has used it. I have not personally used it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a perfectly fine app. It works good. Yeah, I have not personally used that.
Yeah, and that's I guess the stretch goal for everybody on the call as well is to be able to bulk schedule posts using a CSV, but then also make sure that we have that first comment scheduled as well. And that's really the use case that I wanted to ask about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate
Good
it.
to see you. Of course.
Yes, absolutely. All right, David, you are next. What's on your mind, David? David, I think you are muted. There we go.
So I appreciate all the information. Amazing as always. I've been on several
Thank
of
you.
these, so appreciate it. So a couple of questions. One is I started a page about maybe 4 months ago. I was doing daily posts for about 6 weeks, and then I was getting no following, no traction, and I sort of like gave up and was posting once a week and stuff like that. But I appreciate your information about, yeah, you got to be consistent. So
Yes.
yeah, so I'm going to need to go back. But I started a page, and a couple of things with that. Should I change that page over to a group and just stop the group because there's no traction on it? I've got the post that I could copy over. But is it worth just stopping that page, starting a group, continuing with the page, or?
I think you're going to have better engagement on a group than you are on a page. So, if you've got a page right now, I'd probably just let it coast and I would start a new group. If you've got a dead group, I definitely would not leave that to start a page. I would then rebuild the group.
Okay. So another thing with this page is I created a name for it, and if you search for the name, it doesn't come up. So I think that's part of the problem. Like I tell people to go and search for the page, and they can't find it.
Welcome to Facebook's search algorithm. There's a reason that Google is the search engine and not Facebook. Their search function is abysmal inside of Facebook. I don't have a good answer to it. One of the things I always do is I just tell people, I give people the link all the time because I can't find my own group in search sometimes. It's that bad.
Okay.
I wish I had a good answer for it, but it is, yeah, as good as Facebook is at some things, it is certainly not good in that respect.
Okay. So in the little round image thing, right now I have the logo. Should I have a picture of me in there or a picture of a logo? Which one do you, or my business logo? Which one do you think?
On your page or your group are you talking now? On your group?
On the group.
Yeah, I would try to brand my group, but if you don't have it or don't know what you want to do, a picture of you is fine.
Okay. Well, I've got my brand logo, so I can
Yeah,
just put that.
I would put that in there then.
Social media people, I have heard, always recommend your face. I'll just
There you
add
go.
that.
No,
That's what I
and that's a
hear.
good point, Sherry.
I've
That's a
heard.
very good point.
So it really depends, right? Do you want to listen to the social media people that I hear from, or do you want to listen to Jonathan, who has a group of 340 some
Well, and
people?
I don't know what the right
Yeah.
answer is. I mean, I have a logo for mine and it seems to work. I don't know, but on my YouTube channel, by the way, my YouTube channel is my channel. It's Jonathan Mast. It's not even, Whitebeard Strategies. My company doesn't even have I mean, they do, but not a channel that we actually use for anything. So, I think whatever you're comfortable with is going to work. I don't think this goes back to a larger discussion, David, and it's one that I love bringing up because I think it's funny. Nobody else does, but I do. I grew up in Michigan, and on the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, the island, Mackinac Island, was known for its fudge. And I've said for years that the name of your company is largely irrelevant. And what I mean by that is, and I've never taken the time to do it, and I don't like fudge enough to do it, but I think you could have a fudge company on Mackinac Island called Brown Puppy Poo. And you could have, if your fudge was great, I think people would flock to your shop to buy Brown Puppy Poo fudge because I don't think the name would care. Would you have a certain percentage of the population that would go, I can't do it? Sure. But you'd have 400% more of them that were like, that's cool. I want Brown Puppy Poo. So I don't think the name, the graphic, I don't think any of that is going to matter. If your content is good, what you choose there is really not going to be relevant in the big picture.
Yeah. Okay. Last question. I know some people in the past have talked about having specific days like Motivational Monday or Wacky Wednesday or whatever. Do you agree with that, or is it just it doesn't matter? You don't need to have particular schedule of content.
You don't need to. I do that in my group, but only for me. It's not done for anybody else. It's just because then when I'm planning my calendar, my content calendar out, I know that for the last almost 2 years, every Thursday I talk about image prompts. That way, when I come across a really cool image idea, some days I just post it on the day because it's cool and it's timely. Other times I'm like, I just schedule it for Thursday because Thursday's my image day. And yeah, but it is not, I don't think that that contributes necessarily to the group's growth, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So you don't specifically name it Image Thursday or whatever.
Oh no, I actually have a graphic that goes up every morning at 6:30 in the morning and says today is about this. It's got a name and everything else. Yeah, I do that. I don't think that's why the group has grown though.
I see. Cool. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, thank you. Very good questions, and I appreciate you asking. All right, Deb, you are up next. Deb, what's on your mind?
Hi, good to see you.
You as well. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, great session. And I just wanted to first of all say about the social monials. I'm shocked to hear that they have a way to schedule to a group. And I went to the website and what do you know if I don't already own it and I'm logged in and I'm super excited about that because it was really upsetting when Facebook took that away from us that we're using a tool to schedule into groups. It's been very painful. So I'm excited to try that. And then I just wanted to give a couple tips if I could.
Please.
You know that I am a social media manager and a community, and really
you've forgotten more than I'm ever going to know.
I'm actually a community manager. And so I wanted to share with those of us, because what you did was amazing. And I think that you're super talented and you've got a great group of people working with you. And that's been, and your subject is super unique.
That has helped a lot. Yes.
Very timely. And so I know that there are a lot of people on this call that are not necessarily in that space. And so I just wanted to give a couple tips of what I do with clients when we start off small, if I could.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is, it's going to not necessarily go along with what you said. It's going to be a little bit different, but
that's all right.
And what I do, I call it a posse or a crew. And what I do is I find 2 or 3 people that I know that will answer my questions or answer my clients' questions in the group. And so when they put an engaging question in there is a specific people that I've reached out to and basically begged them, or I have given them free access to a program, or they've gotten free courses, or I send them Starbucks cards, or I hire them for, a rate. And their job is to answer the questions that I put into the group. Because what I believe is that when you first start a group, you have to teach people and you have to train people of what the group norms and group culture are. And that is that people should answer questions and they should help each other. And so I just wanted to let other people know that you could easily go, find a friend or a colleague to come in and answer your questions to get things going.
I think it's a great idea.
I actually usually have a second group, which is just those people. And that way I can give direction to those people, give them a heads up. And I run quite a few large communities like this, and it works out really well. So I hope that that helps some of you that are struggling with no one's answering, no one's seeing my stuff. If you have just a few people, and I also have found that you need basically to get things really going, I would say you need about 100 people to get things moving. So try hard to get to that first 100 people. So just a couple tips.
Great advice. For those who don't know, Deb has an amazing amount of community experience, and I'm just honored that you decided to even take my course and be here because you probably know more about this than I do. So,
Oh, well, you're doing amazing things with your group, and I love it. So I couldn't miss it. So thanks so much.
well, thank you, Deb, and thank you for sharing. I do appreciate that. All right, we've got about 20 minutes left. If anybody has any questions, we certainly don't need to go that far, but if you guys have questions, I'm certainly happy to answer them and share. Benson, I see you're back. What's on your mind, Benson? Benson, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Sorry about that.
That's
I
all
was
right.
looking for the image class that I took, and I can't seem to find it in my portal. And I kind of, I guess when you take classes, it kind of goes in classes you've taken in your portal.
Inside a high,
That
are you
one's on
looking high level?
Facebook.
That was a
Okay.
That
Facebook
one's on
group.
Facebook.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, we will
and
be
thank you
over
again.
time moving them all over to high level, but that's a very low priority on the scope at the moment. So
Of course. Thank you so much, by the way. The classes are always wonderful, and I look forward to taking more. So thank you.
well, thank you. I appreciate the kind words. It means a ton to me. That's great. All right, Jaqueen, you're next. What's on your mind, Jaqueen?
Yes, can you go over the pros and cons of using automated systems to post to your social media like Facebook or Instagram, and are you penalized for doing that?
I'm actually going to call Deb back if Deb doesn't mind, because Deb probably knows better than I do on that. And Deb, would you mind joining us for a minute? Would that be okay? I'm going to go ahead and bring you into the spotlight if you don't mind.
Yeah,
There we go.
sure. I used to work for a SaaS company which means software as a service, which is one of the tools. And we did extensive testing, and all the other big tools have done extensive testing. And the answer is there is no difference. And the only bad thing about things now is that we cannot directly schedule into groups. So that's the only thing that we can't do, or most of the tools can't do. So I'm thrilled to see that Jonathan had a suggestion for somebody that could do that.
Well,
But
and
I
on
think,
socialmonials, it's funky how it works, Deb. It's
yeah,
you have to like approve it on your phone or something. It's reminds me of the old Instagram days.
yeah,
And that's again, no surprise, Facebook or Meta owns both, so it's no surprise they would play similar games there.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. So
go
I
ahead.
think here's the other thing is if you use a scheduling tool and it makes your life easier, you should use it. If it will help you post, you should use it. As well as, Meta has a pretty good tool within itself. It's gotten a lot more sophisticated, so you can do a lot of scheduling on there. So I think I'm a big fan of planning your content out and scheduling ahead, is what I would say. Jonathan,
Okay.
does that answer it?
I think if it makes your life easier and it causes you to provide better content, then it's absolutely worth doing. And that's the difference. I You guys gotta understand one of the reasons I don't use those tools, but my team does, is because I have ADD. And when I mean it, I'm saying I have ADD. I don't know what I'm going to post until I decide to do it. I don't think about it in advance. And so for me, the tools don't add a tremendous amount of value because of how I work. It doesn't mean they're not any good. It's just the way in which I do things. And I'm sure if I got in a better habit, I would find them to add value, but that would take time out of my day to learn something new. And I just don't want to take that time. I'm too busy learning about AI. But yeah, I agree with Deb. I had my doubts actually until I met Deb, and she taught me differently that there is no penalty. Find one that makes sense to you and that makes your life easier. There's a lot of them out there. Just find the ones that fit for you the best, that meet your budget, and have the tool set that you want.
And can I add one more thing, Jonathan?
Please, yeah, absolutely.
I think it's very critical that you don't go with some cheap fly-by-night tool that you find. You need to find a tool that is Meta certified And that is how you're going to stay safe in this whole process. Because if they're a partner with Meta, Meta is vetting them all the time. They're having to show their software, they're having to show the back end, and there's no risk to you using that tool versus some of these ones, maybe some of the ones that you might see some $29 for life tool that you're like, oh, I'm going to save money. Or if they promise you the moon, and no one else is promising that moon, I'd be wary of those tools.
Yeah, as in life, if it sounds too good to be true, it almost always is.
Yeah.
Mind if I add to this, please?
Yeah, go ahead, Carl. Or Dale, I'm sorry, wrong voice. I knew who I was talking to.
I do use social millennials to post 11 times a day on 10 different platforms. And my attitude was always from the beginning was if they're in the business to do this, put the responsibility on them to make sure it gets posted. They're going to do the things that are right. So I haven't had no problems with posting it, even with comments. The other thing is I've talked with Craig at Social Millennials, and we've been working on the Facebook groups and personal pages. And they're still working on the app. So it's going to get better.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, they're a relatively young company, I believe, but I've been impressed thus far. Dale, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. That's awesome.
And my final quick question
Yeah.
is my target audience is definitely in two places. They are on Facebook and they are on TikTok. I never had a TikTok account. And if you or someone else can just post in the chat, is it, can we get on TikTok now and establish a new account? And does anyone in the group have any experience on being on TikTok and ads and just general information? Because I know nothing about it, but I know that's where my target audience, because ChatGPT told me they were.
Remember, ChatGPT is not always right, but no, it could very well be. I'm very, very minimally represented on TikTok, so I'm not a good one to answer that. I do believe you can set up new accounts at the moment, and I would say based on what I've heard, the likelihood that TikTok will stay around is pretty high, but I don't have any exact app proof of that, I guess. If anybody else has got stuff, please throw it in the chat. That would be awesome. That would be good to hear. All right, Sandy, you are next, Sandy. What's on your mind? Thank you.
Hey. Well, I just have a quick question about if I want to post every day and I want to build trust and credibility with my group, is it better for me to do a video versus a question like you did in the box, with the type? Is it better to have a constant communication?
It depends on your audience. I find that a mixture of content works best. If all I post is video, that's not going to work. Part of it is you're going to reach different audiences, Sandy. So some of your audiences you're going to reach with one, some of it you're going to reach with other. I've gotten the most possible traffic of anything on videos, but in general, my posts do as good or better than my videos. But I've got some runaway videos as well. But I think it's different how you're catching them. People on your videos, at least on long form, they're looking to learn something. On short form, they're scrolling through, they're doom scrolling, and then they see something that gets their attention. At least that's I know what happens to me when I see it. They've just got something that gets my attention. But yeah, it just depends. I think long form video is probably more important than it's been in the last few years, only because I do think a lot of people are looking for knowledge. And when you can share stuff, it's hard to do that in 60 or 90 seconds. I know now it's 3 minutes, but it's hard to do that. It's easier to do that if you've got a little time.
Well, a lot of my older women I'm just trying to calm them down and, tell them everything's going to be all right. And so a comforting message, I think, is what I'm after. But I also have a lot of YouTube videos of women telling us what they think makes life great. And so I can take clips of that and then put that out there from an educational standpoint. Just keep them feeling like life is great. We're going to get through this. It's not the world. And just kind of get them. But I think most of them know me so far. So I didn't want to just be overly me on the group.
Well, I would do a mix, would be my recommendation. Good question, Sandy. Thank you for asking. All right. Alina, you're up next. What's on your mind, Alina?
Yes, I had a question that I put in the chat. I wanted to know from when you started the Facebook group to now, how long did it take you for you to then start monetizing
We
your Facebook group?
Yeah, no, good question. I'd love to tell you it was perfectly strategic, and what the reality was is I did it mainly to build credibility. And what would happen is until August of last year, so 6 months ago, all of the money we made off the group wasn't because we were selling stuff in the group. I tried really hard never to do that. It really was because people would reach out to me and hire me because of the credibility that I created in the group. And that was going really well. And then I actually got hired to speak at a mastermind in Cancun and was speaking at that mastermind, and a bunch of people at that mastermind knew more about big groups than I did. And they're like, dude, you're missing the point. You've got an audience here that wants more stuff, help them out. And so that's when we started doing these challenge trainings and things like that. And that's really when we started, probably for the first time, actually monetizing the group from that perspective. Up to that point, we just added tons of value. And, the good news is it was generating anywhere from 8 to 15 appointments every week for me, for people that wanted to buy our services without me even advertising. It's just the best one I can think of is, the American Tennis Association is one of my clients. I never called them. Nothing ever happened. This one day they showed up on my calendar. The executive director of the U.S. Tennis Association, the executive director watched one of my videos, and she and her director of marketing ended up on a phone call with me and paid me to come out to Washington, D.C. and present to their team and everything else. And they're still one of my biggest clients. And that didn't have anything to do with me, quote unquote, monetizing the group. It had everything to do with the credibility that we'd earned in the process, if that makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I had one other question.
Sure.
You had said when people connect to your group, you capture their email addresses as one of the questions, right?
We ask, but it is not mandatory.
Okay, so the ones who did you say before that it was a manual process or you have it automated?
No, we used to have it automated using a tool called Group Collector, and we used
Okay.
that for a long time. And then Facebook decided, and I'm sure Deb could share stories of this happening. Facebook decided, for whatever reason, that was a violation of their terms of service. And we got a message that basically said, if you don't stop using that automation tool, your account will be shut down tomorrow. I don't know if they added tomorrow,
Okay.
but they made it was threatening enough. I immediately turned it off. We
Okay.
then had another staff member, that's not normally an admin in the group. We made them an admin in the group, and we put Group Collector on their account to see what would happen. And they were kicked out of our group by Facebook within 24 hours.
Okay.
So
Okay.
automation, as far as I'm concerned, and there may be differences, automation in groups, you're just asking for trouble because they don't want it. And again,
Okay.
all that Group Collector does, by the way, is it literally just takes the information that was provided by the user and puts it in a Google Sheet. That's the only thing it does. There's nothing
Right.
nefarious, but they determined that it was against their terms of service, and they stopped immediately.
Okay. Yeah, because I just found a company called groupboss.io that does the same thing. They take that and puts it into like a Google Sheet or Google Docs. And I didn't know if they are Meta approved or not, but I just wanted to ask you how you did
It's
yours
my
first.
understanding, and I do not know this to be a fact, that if they're using a Chrome extension to do it, they're not Meta
Yeah.
certified. That's
Okay.
now, I don't know that that's like true, but that's my
Mhm.
understanding. I talked to somebody at Facebook because I complained pretty loudly about what happened, and somebody from Facebook that I don't know but reached out to me, and I was able to verify they worked at Facebook. They are not in the groups community because there is no longer a groups division at Facebook that was disbanded about 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And they were able to confirm with me that one of the problems was, if it's a Chrome extension, likely that's why it was banned. And what
Okay.
Deb was talking about earlier, most of those apps are not, they may have a Chrome extension, but that's not the only way they work. They're actually apps, like Deb said, that are being certified by Meta and all of that. So I'm not saying that one
Okay.
you found's bad. You just use at your own risk.
Okay. And then I guess I want to ask you, why don't you have the emails as required before they come in?
because one of my goals is to build a big group. That adds credibility to me on the speaking circuit. So I love to speak, and it gives me more credibility. And I don't know if Deb at one point when in the past had actually partnered with me to have me write content for them. And I don't know, but I'm guessing one of the things that mattered to Deb at the time was I had a huge following. So that helped her articles get in front of, or my articles that I wrote for her publication, get in front of more people. And it gets me on a lot of podcasts. It gets me a lot of speaking engagements. So I want your email, but I don't want to make it mandatory because we'd probably be at about 110,000 if we made it mandatory.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Not that that'd be bad, but it's just, why not be at 340? So.
Right. Thank you.
So, yeah, just total transparency. Total transparency. All right.
Good to know.
All right, and I know your name, and I apologize, but you say iPad 3, and I know that's not right, and I'm sorry, I've totally forgotten
It's
your
me.
name. Hey, there you go.
Eric
Now I
Scott,
can see.
Jonathan.
I had to pull you up on the full screen on my teleprompter. You were small, and I'm like, I know that guy, but I can't remember who it was. Now I know. What's going on,
That's
sir?
okay. It's okay. Actually, I'm just asking a social question. I'm teaching, so my bell's about to go off. I got to get back to class. But you mentioned a couple days ago, I think, about going to San Diego and maybe hanging out, but I didn't hear all the details. How can I find out about that? 'Cause I'm in Southern California.
If you're interested, I am going to be in San Diego and have time for dinner. And this is to anybody on the call. The evening of the Sunday, the 16th. If anybody's in San Diego and wants to go out and have dinner, please message me. I would love to hang out with some of you, meet you in person. Nothing special planned. I'm actually you're gonna have to tell me where we're going for dinner. Yeah, I've got Sunday evening. My flight gets in at early afternoon. And so, by 3, 4 o'clock, if you guys want to go somewhere, I don't care whether it's a bar, we want to hang out and eat nachos, or if we want to go out and have steak dinner. If you guys are interested, let's do it.
Sounds good. I'll probably message you in the group,
Please do.
I guess, and find out more details because I can't do that right now. I did have something. I'm going to apologize. I'm assuming you mentioned this, but with Go High Level, is there an automation way or a way to post through Go High Level to all the different social platforms? Is that something that was talked about?
They do, yeah. So Tom was talking about they have a social posting tool that allows you to I don't know about all of them, but all the major ones, yes.
Is that a thumbs up for you as far as Go High Level?
We've been using it. It's been working well. I don't know if Deb has any thoughts on it, if she's still on or not. She's not on my screen anymore, but we've used it and had good luck with it. We know a lot of agencies that use it. So I certainly would recommend giving it a try if you've already got it because it's built in.
Okay. Sounds good.
Awesome.
Thanks, Jonathan.
With the exception
Thank you. Have a good one.
With the exception of X.
Okay.
It doesn't do X. Okay.
It won't do X. Yep.
Not a problem.
Thank you, Carl. I appreciate that. Good information.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, we've got a few minutes left. Just a reminder, we're going to do that extra bonus session next week, Wednesday at 2:30. I'll send everybody an email so you've got that. In the meantime, we'll get this recording posted and everything else. I so appreciate you guys hanging out and being absolute troopers, hanging out with me for almost 3 hours. I love these things, so I appreciate the fact that we've still got 70 people that are hanging out with us at 3 hours later. That's mind-blowing to me, but hopefully we're adding value. Thank you to everybody, and I hope I see all of you. What's that? Yeah, save the chat if you want. We'll give you a countdown to save the chat. It will get published. I remembered last night. But if you hit the 3 dots, save chat, you'll have that, and we can go from there. And guys, make it an incredible evening. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week, hopefully. And don't forget, post in the group with any questions. Let me know your progress. I want to hear how you guys are doing. All right, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.